Home entertainment, nobody beats the Wiz. And play an instant scratch-off game today. Yankee Stadium, opening day 1990. The Yankees and the Indians attempted to open the season in Cleveland, but the weather would not allow it. 44 degrees at Yankee Stadium this afternoon. The wind chill listed at 30. Partly cloudy skies. All in all, comparatively speaking, a beautiful afternoon for baseball at Yankee Stadium. The umpiring crew for this opening day game for the Yankees, Larry McCoy will be calling the balls and strikes. Al Clark at first, John Hirschbeck at second base, and Dave Phillips, the umpire, down at third. Phillips, the crew chief of this group.
There are opening days, and then there are opening days in Yankee Stadium. Even Keith Hernandez, who has stood at attention before the first and the seventh games of World Championship season in different uniforms, is very excited, as is young Mike Flowers. And they're all waiting for one man, and I believe it's got to be Billy Joe Martin.
He will throw out the first pitch, the ceremonial first pitch this afternoon.
Billy Joe, at one time, an outstanding young athlete, Dave Vincent, just above the dugout with the glasses and the red sweater keeping warm. Looks like Mayor Dinkins in the Yankee jacket. It was an opening day with Mr. Vincent in Shea Stadium. But Billy Joe was the apple of his father's eye. An excellent soccer player till he tore his knee up. This will be an emotional moment for him, too.
Well, the Yankees play this one against the Indians, stay home with Texas coming in. The Indians, as a result of moving in here, this is actually a makeup because of the lockout. This game a makeup. They will leave and head into Chicago. So the schedule not too good for the Cleveland Ball Club. And they're still discussing as to whether they will play a 6-game series against the Indians the next time the Yankees are in Cleveland in July, or try to make that game up somewhere else along the trail and utilize another off day. Already there are a number of clubs who have lost all of their off days at home because of the rescheduling, because of the makeup games of the lockout. Sometimes they lose a home date because of an exhibition or so. Boy, it is an emotional moment, isn't it?
Well, when Billy died, I'm sure he, like many people around the country, were enjoying their Christmas, their holiday season. Mike Ferraro, who was a very close friend to Billy Martin, standing next to Billy Joe. The man most trusted, I thought of first, when I'd heard about it, of course, Whitey Ford was like a brother to Billy, but Mickey Mantle. I mean, they all but grew together and grew so close and did so many things together. And how about Mick, reminiscing the other day, or down at his restaurant with us, telling really humorous Billy Martin stories, like in Boston. Stay at a place called the Kenmore Hotel, and used to sneak out the back entrance through an alley to go to the ballpark. And one day after curfew, Casey Stengel was in the lobby waiting for those who might have broken the curfew, and Billy sneaked through the back window on Mickey's back. He hoisted him up, tried to open the back door. Whitey went up next because Mickey was the strongest, and the next thing you know, Billy came to the door, couldn't get it open from the inside. It was bolted. They went back to the window and said, "See you tomorrow, Mick." And Mick had to face Casey for about a $150 fine.
And, of course, the emotions ran the entire spectrum. No more emotional moment, I guess, for Billy than when he was traded from the New York Yankees.
Sat with Mickey just a couple of days ago, watching a roast, the unedited version. Hal with Whitey there, and Mickey and Alan King and many other celebrities. Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr. sent tapes for Billy. A roast for Billy. Here comes Billy Joe.
There's Billy Martin's number one among those retired by the Yankees. And Billy Joe Martin goes to the mound to offer the first pitch of the 1990 season. First pitch, figuratively speaking, of a new decade for the Yankees as they open the 1990 season at home this afternoon against the Cleveland Indians. There it is. Bob Geren doing the catching, receiving the opening day toss. Well, Dave LaPointe gets the pitching nod for Bucky Dent and Billy Connors this afternoon. LaPointe, a year ago, 6-9, had worked out on the shoulder over the winter, came to camp this spring. There were a lot of people who wondered if LaPointe would even make this staff, and here he is. It turns out to be an opening day assignment for him.
He came back much quicker than anybody thought, as you said. We know about his great palm ball. Will his shoulder be strong enough to get the fastballs inside to control that inner half of the plate against all these right-handed hitters McNamara has? So let's go to the lineups against Dave LaPointe.
Miller's Genuine Draft, what's on tap? We'll find Mitch Webster leading off. Webster in center. Jerry Brown at second with Candy Maldonado batting third, playing left. Corey Snyder in right field, the cleanup hitter. Keith Hernandez at first base. The designated hitter is Chris James. Jacoby will hit seventh and play third. Alomar, Sandy Alomar Jr., the catcher, and Rafael Santana, the shortstop. The defensive setup for the Yankees behind the left-hander LaPointe. Round the infield, Blowers at third, Espinosa the shortstop, Sachs at second, Mattingly at first, and in the outfield, Hall left, Kelly center with Barfield in right. Geren gets the catching assignment this afternoon with LaPointe on the mound.
Spring and the fall of the year, left field here in Yankee Stadium can be awfully tough with the sun. I'm sure Mal Hall is hoping the clouds stay around.
We are all set to play ball. Mitch Webster, who was in the starting lineup in that leadoff spot last night in Cleveland, will bat right-handed here against the lefty LaPointe. And the season underway. Low and outside for a ball.
A pleasant 44 degrees at first pitch.
Webster coming over from the Chicago Cubs. He had 257 last year. LaPointe comes in with a strike.
The Indians think their pitching is going to be okay. When Swindell comes back, he's scheduled to pitch Sunday. They have a good four starters and Doug Jones to back it up, but their offense was questionable last year, to say the least.
Webster puts down the bunt, a good one. Geren with the throw, got him. Nice play by the Yankee catcher. Webster trying to bunt his way on.
Nice play by the catcher, Geren, after a very short night's sleep. You might notice something different about Yankee Stadium this year. The grass is cut closer to the foul line, about 2 feet. And with Sachs and Espinosa, who's a good bunter, Roberto Kelly, Bucky Dent last year said he wanted that grass cut a little closer, so in fair territory the ball was deadened. So Geren had to get out in a hurry because Blowers had no chance.
Here's Jerry Brown. Brown, just 24 years old, the leading hitter for the Indians a year ago.
The helium-filled balloons didn't go skyward. Some have settled on the field. That's what the delays are at this point.
The hitter is hoping that somewhere along the line that might be a good omen, and the pitchers, of course, thinking otherwise. Brown looks at a strike.
That's the pitch that LaPointe has to establish. In spite of the fact that his palm ball is his best pitch, he's got to show these right-handed hitters he can throw fastballs with some zip so they can't just sit on the change.
The ball high, and the count is 1-1. This is actually the second time LaPointe has received an opening day assignment. He opened the '84 season while a member of the St. Louis Cardinals. 2 balls and a strike. Matter of fact, he opened their season at home for their home opener and opened the season overall on the road. It's a 3-ball, 1-strike count. His record, just for the sake of information, 1-0 with a no decision in those opening day assignments.
LaPointe and Guerin, the catcher, both begging for that last call from Larry McCoy. They're really begging for this next pitch. Let's get McCoy to widen that strike zone a little bit.
And they get it a full count. Candy Maldonado will be next. McCoy been in the American League since 1971. Center field. Kelly is there. The ball carries to him. Too gone. Brown took him to 3-2 and then went to center.
If there's one figure in their number, batting average, home runs, lack of stolen bases, is indicative of how bad the Cleveland Indians offense was last year. And I find this extraordinary. I didn't believe it. I looked it up when McNamara told me. 41 times last season. 41 they scored 1 or less runs. I mean, that is atrocious.
And here's one of the fellas they're hoping will help turn that around. Candy Maldonado. Maldonado struggled last year in San Francisco. Foul ball, strike one.
David LaPointe, one pitcher, and there aren't a whole lot who can throw that changeup. 3-4 consecutive pitchers. Doug Jones, the outstanding reliever from the Indians, can do that also. You look for it and you're still out in front.
1 ball, 1 strike. The number you mentioned, Tony, about the Cleveland offense, when you stop and think that Carter is no longer on this club. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pete O'Brien, Joe Carter. That's some pretty good run production off a club that struggled anyway. So there's even more pressure on people like Maldonado, Corey Snyder to rebound, and Hernandez coming over as the veteran first baseman, spending his first year with the Indians.
Don't forget Sandy Alomar Jr. Just over 20 years of age. He not only is an outstanding looking young catcher, that tandem of catchers they had last year for the Indians drove in less than 40 runs. He's got a chance to drive at 80.
The 2-2, a tapper foul. So the count holds right there. LaPointe says he wasn't necessarily nervous about getting the opening day assignment. He said he was more nervous the first time out this spring. He said that was the big one for him.
And as Mal Hall said, he's got to be elated the same way. John McNamara, who's been around Oakland, Boston, Cincinnati, California. He said his most unpleasant experience was up in Boston. He said it changed my personality. He said I couldn't handle a couple of writers up there.
Nobody on, 2 outs. Top of the first. LaPointe goes to 3-2 on Maldonado. LaPointe made 20 starts last year. And he got him. He speeds. Maldonado out on strikes. 3 up, 3 down. Go the Indians. And we'll go into the bottom of the first. No score. Bud Black, 32-year-old lefty on the mound for the Cleveland Indians. A game over 500 last year for Cleveland, but perhaps their most consistent pitcher. He made 32 starts with an earned run average of 3.36.
Rarely walks anybody. His pitching coach Mark Wiley said he very easily could have won 17 last year with any kind of run support against Bud Black. Here's the Yankee lineup, Dwayne.
Steve Sachs will lead it off on the Miller Draft Premium What's on Tap. Alvaro Espinoza at short. Don Mattingly at first base. In the cleanup spot, the DH is Dave Winfield. Mel Hall is at left. Jesse Barfield in right. The center fielder Roberto Kelly. Bob Guerin doing the catching. And Mike Flowers at third. Defensively for the Indians, Jacoby at third, Santana at short, Brown at second, Hernandez at first. In the outfield, Maldonado left, Webster in center with Corey Snyder, the right fielder, Sandy Alomar Jr., the catcher for Bud Black.
There are 2 arms of this defense that it does not look like you should challenge very often. The man in the right field, Snyder, and we saw yesterday that man behind the plate, Sandy Alomar.
He caught Steve Sachs trying to run last night in Cleveland. A situation where Sachs thought he might have been in there. The throw beat him there, but he thought perhaps he had gotten in there anyway. So here's Sachs to open it for the Yankees, and the pitch is a strike.
Bud Black, just an average fastball, 84, 85 miles an hour. 3 kinds of breaking balls, what they call a cutter, and sailing to the right-handers, very effective pitch, a true slider, and a curveball, also a straight change.
He got in on Sachs.
That was the cutter, a little sailor. Worked on that, Dwayne, excuse me, with Charlie Leibrandt when they were at Kansas City together.
One gone. Black has had some problems with the Yankees. He is 3-11 lifetime against New York. Here's Espinosa. Espinosa, 282 last year. Got a chance and made the most of it. 28 years old. He looks at a strike.
Don't know if you can tell the difference between the slider you just saw first pitch and the little cutter, which was a little bit flatter and only a few inches, the pitch that jammed Steve Sachs to ground him out. It's not that this guy throws strikes, but they're quality strikes. As they say, the jargon of the bench, he uses the whole plate.
Espinosa lifts it to the right side. Brown into foul territory makes the catch.
Isn't dugout conversation wonderful when they say using the whole plate? For a guy like this, they may need to use only the outer portion of the plate, not the middle.
Here's Don Mattingly stepping in. Getting a fine reception from the crowd. Mattingly, 303 a year ago. And Black has given him some problems for his career. A drive deep to right, but foul. Mattingly around a little early.
It's one thing we saw all spring, that you do not try and throw fastballs no matter how hard by Mattingly inside. He is so quick.
Mattingly, you see against Black there, 188 lifetime. He struggled against Storm Davis. And then Black. Left side for Jacoby. Across to Hernandez, and the Yankees are up and down in order in the first. We've gone through an inning from Yankee Stadium with no score. Corey Snyder opening the second inning. Takes ball 1. Snyder had a home run and a double washed out last night, or snowed out, I should say. And there's a base hit to right. Well, apparently the sessions he spent with Walt Riddiak over the winter paying dividends already, Tony.
Well, he's moved up on the plate a little bit. Walter Riddiak suggested that. That's Mike Hargrove, the first base coach behind Mattingly and Corey Snyder. The walking man, Mike Hargrove. This ball will be out away, tailing, being up on the plate. The things that he said Riddiak preached for head discipline. You got to watch the ball till it hits the bat. You got to start down on the ball and finish high. Leave the top hand off the bat after you hit the ball. But try and go the opposite way more than anything else.
Here's Keith Hernandez playing in Yankee Stadium for the first time. And the pitch is a ball. Hernandez hit 400 for the spring. The Indians had a good spring. They were 10-5 and showed some offense.
Arizona is hard to judge by, however.
Ground ball, Mattingly knocks it down. Still will go to second. Out there and back to first. Not in time. The ball skipping by, but it's backed up by Garrett. The ball's still in play, so out of that the Yankees get 1, and Hernandez remains at first.
Hernandez finds out very quickly about used to be his counterpart in this league, who's the best over here. He just saw Mattingly. The grass, which is very thick, slowed it down, but Hernandez did just what he wanted to. With Mattingly holding the runner on, he wanted to hook it through the right side. He does it, outside pitch. Mattingly with the composure to still get the lead runner. That's a tough play for a shortstop. The 3-6-3 is tough on the first baseman, but the 3-6-1 is tougher on the shortstop because you're hitting that moving target, the pitcher coming over.
And on that play, 90% of the first baseman in the game will forget about the lead man at second and take the easy one at first. Here's Chris James, the designated hitter.
Now Mattingly at first base is going to play behind Keith Hernandez, with James the DH hitting.
A ball, no strikes. James hit .341. He's another Indian playing in Yankee Stadium for the first time. Fouled it out of play. The count is 1-1.
How about John McNamara yesterday in the second inning with 1 out, Hernandez on first base? He started him on a hit and run that was successful, although Keith got only as far as second base. And John Mack said this morning, I was just trying to send a message to the league that we may be hitting running a little more, even though it's Keith Hernandez who doesn't run well at all.
Well, we alluded to it last night, Tony, the mindset of John McNamara and the drill they had in the spring. There's ball 2, 2-1, concentrating on hitting the ball to the right side exclusively. McNamara, well aware that this club struggled to score last year, will try any number of things this year, including starting the runners.
And with a left-handed pitcher in LaPointe, Mattingly can afford to be back, even though James may try and shoot it through that right side.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
You can see Guerin after every pitch looking into the dugout, probably at Billy Connors, the pitching coach, to see if they want him to step off to find something out, whether to do a little slide step to go home and shorten the delivery, whether to throw over. There goes Guerin again.
Down 2-2, 1 on, 1 out. And he got him. Took a little something off. Strikeout number 2 for LaPointe. Both coming on the change.
There is no difference whatsoever in the motion between this fastball, his breaking ball, and this palm ball. And you can see the action it has, almost like a little screwball action.
Third base.
Billy Connors in the Yankee dugout as LaPointe works to Brooke Jacoby. Strike 1. He's something else.
You talk to yourself. You put a little man on your shoulder and say, wait back, wait back, wait back. And as hard as you try against that changeup, you still are not able.
He comes inside a bit. They count 1 ball, 1 strike to Jacoby. His numbers from a year ago, they were impressive against the Yankees. .415. Higher than any other Indian against Yankee pitching. 2 balls, 1 strike they count.
To this point, LaPointe has not thrown that fastball for a strike. And after a while, the hitters will catch around. Maybe the second time through, they'll say, hey, look, he's throwing the ball decently, but he's not throwing the fastball for strikes. There he did.
Jacoby takes it to right near the line and foul. A drive deep the other way, but out of play. And that squares the count at 2-2.
An area of the ballpark that used to be just 296, and Yogi Berra, the Hall of Famer, wrapped him around that pole time after time. Roger Maris could hit those right field seats. Mickey wasn't that much of a pull hitter from the left side. He hit the ball a long ways to right and left center field.
Now 314 down the right field line and 318 down the line to the left. 408 to straightaway center. Pitch blocked by Guerin, and the count to Jacoby goes all the way to 3-2. In the alleys in right center, 385, and in left center, 399.
Well, Mike Ferraro and Joe Sparks have been moving the defense. Now 3 and 2 outs to the runner go, and you move your outfielders back a little farther so that a man can't score on the move and a long single.
The 3-2 got him looking. Jacoby called out on strikes. No runs, a hit, 1 left. We'll go into the bottom of the second from Yankee Stadium. Indians and the Yankees scoreless. There's more New York Rangers hockey action following Rangers game night. The Rangers battle the Islanders in Game 5 of the Patrick Division Semis. That's Rangers playoff action Friday at 8 here on MSG Network.
Joe Sparks, Bucky Dent's manager for several years in the minor leagues down at third base. But last season at Montreal, and Mike Ferraro down at first.
We're going into the bottom of the second, and Dave Winfield gets a nice hand as he steps in to open it for the Yankees. Winfield, Hall, and Barfield against Black in the bottom of inning 2.
Did you get the feeling that Winfield in the opener yesterday in the snow turned it up just a notch over spring training?
Hit the ball hard twice, including a base hit to drive in a run in the 4th inning. And the first pitch foul out of play. A young fan grabbed it, brought his glove as a souvenir off the bat of Dave Winfield. Winfield said before the game today, you have to realize I've played only 8 games in the spring after missing an entire year. So I'm still not quite where I want to be.
And Bud Black, along with young Sandy Alomar Jr. Fernie, trying to find out the first 2 pitches whether Dave can handle a fastball. It's not that hard, but they want to see if he still has the bat speed to catch up.
1-1 the count. This one got in on him, fouled it. No ball, 2 strikes.
Typical pitching pattern of Dave Winfield when he was young, or now that he's 38. Bust him inside and bust him inside. Likes to get those long arms extended. And this year, I'm sure they've already noticed, their scouting reports say that he has moved up on the plate just a little bit.
He's behind in the count. Black shooting for the outside edge. And the count goes to 2-2. Winfield around first, on his way to second, and the throw will not be in time. A stand-up double for Dave Winfield. Winfield showing signs last night in Cleveland. Doubles his first time up this afternoon at Yankee Stadium, and there's the first hit of the year for the Yankees.
He threw a slider this time after throwing the cut fastballs. He just muscles the ball right on by Jacoby. The ball got in him, the hands were tied up, but he is so strong. He still showed you that long loping stride that covers some grounds going from home plate to second also.
Here's Mel Hall. Hall fouls this one out of play.
If there's a better base runner in this league in his prime than Dave Winfield, you'd have to go to Paul Molitor or Robin Yount, maybe a few others. Ricky Henderson, of course, a great base stealer, but I always thought that Winfield's a better base runner.
Well, a 2-base hit for Winfield. Yankees are hoping that that bodes well for this year.
Little mess up of communication right there. Shortstop Santana was breaking behind Winfield for a pickoff move. Bud Black didn't see it.
The count goes to 1-1. First hit for Winfield since September of '88 on the 24th of September. He thought he had it last night. There's a liner in the center. That ball will fall in front of Webster for a base hit. And Winfield turns, falls, and remains at third.
And unlike Barfield yesterday on the soggy turf, Winfield ran hard all the way around third base until he got the stop sign from Joe Sparks.
So the Yankees with men at first and third and nobody out in the second inning. Mel Hall saying it doesn't make any difference if there's a left-hander or a right-hander out there.
He had a good pitch. Bud Black knew he was trying to pull the ball to the right side to get Winfield to third, so he threw him this looked like a cut fastball down in a way that he just served the center field.
Here's Jesse Barfield. Barfield pops it up. He was jammed, and Brown goes out to grab it. That's the first out. That's a big out for Black to get. There's Hall at first. Winfield aboard at third. 568 days between hits for Winfield.
Again, we saw that Navy pitch, the sailor, the cut fastball that jammed and broke Barfield's bat. Pitchers throw that differently. Some use the seams aerodynamically to make it sail. Some use finger pressure. Some off-center the ball.
Move to first. Hall back in. Roberto Kelly at the plate. Dave Point and Bud Black matched up in this one. That one in on Kelly. That's foul down the right side.
You call an attempt at situational hitting, the phrase that the late Charlie Lau coined. Try and shoot it to the right side. Bud Black knew it because he busted him on the fist.
Big opening day last year for Kelly. He's trying to put the Yankees out in front in the opening day this year. Black stays in.
Looking at the left side of the defense for the Cleveland Indians, Santana is shortened up quite a bit in his position at shortstop because he knows anything hit there with Kelly running, it'll be bang bang, and if it's not hit hard, he may come home try and get Winfield if it's hit to him, of course.
Black just nips the corner on the outer edge. A ball, 2 strikes.
Winfield down in third sees the defensive alignment. He knows any ground ball, he's going to come on and try and get in the rundown.
In on Kelly again, and a foul ball. That ball really ran in on him. Bucky Dent, the Yankee manager.
He saw his offense struggle the shortened spring training.
Down around the feet. 2-2 the count.
You was impressed last night as I was, and everybody else, even the Yankees, with Alomar and how he blocks pitches and throws.
He does everything properly, doesn't he?
6'5", he is so agile.
2-2 the count on Kelly. And he stays alive.
It's a great shot.
This one away.
Great shot with nobody on second base with center field camera. Alomar put the fastball location inside. Nobody on second base, simple signs. Bud Black shook him off. One of the changeup away.
Ball first, Winfield third. And a strikeout. Roberto Kelly down on strikes. That's the first one for Black. And the second out. And it's going to be up to Bob Guerin.
So far, he has thrown very few pitches down the middle of the plate. Change up low and away, sent him up with, then he rides a fastball. It looked like, and still maybe, but it looked like a big inning sitting here.
Winfield opened with a double, went to third on the single by Hall, but Black got in on Barfield and popped him up. Has struck out Kelly. And Guerin takes ball 1.
You know, Dwayne, that's a big problem when you get big hitters like Barfield and a right-hander like Kelly, who's got some strength. When you ask them to go the opposite way, a smart pitcher like Black knows it, and he'll bust him inside, and instead of once in a while saying, I'm going to return on this ball and drive it hard to left field. You start jamming yourself by trying to hit the ball the opposite way too much. We saw that all spring, and that's a philosophy that I'm not in accord with thus far with the Yankees' offensive techniques.
Strike on the outside corner to run the count to a ball and a strike. Guerin fouls it back.
In fact, you saw a man in operation when he managed and then became the general manager, who apparently learned it from Earl Weaver. The 3-run home run, not a bad idea, and Jimmy Fry was that guy.
That's right. Fry certainly appreciates the home run as much as anyone.
There are times to hit and run and stuff, but there are times early in the ball game you don't want to play for one when you got a big inning sitting in front of you.
Ball back in. And that's not to say that approach to try to hit the ball the other way should be completely discounted.
No.
Matter of fact, a fellow such as Guerin, who's at the plate right now, feels that gave him an offensive edge. He had some problems offensively until he started to do that. This one foul. The problem is when you get a fellow who is strong and who can drive the ball and has done that in the past, you're giving up so much.
You run the risk of making him a Punch and Judy. And sometimes when you play for one run, that's all you get, and sometimes you don't get that. And you got a chance for 3, 4 and make it easy on your pitcher.
Black now on the verge of pitching out of this. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yankees with the first scoring opportunity of the game. Bottom of the 2nd inning.
Nothing else. They're pushing Bud Black awfully hard this inning. Not many innings pitched in spring training.
The 2-2 as Black steps off first. Black threw 222 and a third innings last year. Had a good hits allowed to innings pitched ratio. Good control. Guerin stays alive. The off-speed pitch had him out in front.
Remember in 86 and 87 when Black was in Kansas City, he was a reliever. He was pitching about 120 innings a year each of those 2 years. And the arm strength to start wasn't there. Then last year he pitched about 81, had a little bit of arm problem, or 2 years ago. And then last year they got him back in the starting rotation when his arm got strengthened to become a starter again.
Guerin fights this one off, fouling it. Holding the count at 2-2. So the way Black pitches, he may not be overpowering, but there are a lot of hitters who on a night such as we had last night would hate to hit against this guy. He keeps the ball inside. And a tap, a foul ball. Count still 2-2.
Winfield started in and then almost made a very alert play, because if that ball had stayed fair, it would have been tough for Jacoby, who's playing so deeply, even to get a slow running Guerin. So Winfield started back so he wouldn't be tagged for the 3rd out. And only a good base runner would have thought of that. Most guys would just wandered in. If you can't get the guy at first, they throw him and they tag you out and the inning's over with. And he actually started back, and that's, you don't teach that. That's sheer instinct.
Guerin, the number 8 hitter in the Yankee lineup. So Mike Flowers is on deck.
Was Bud Black asking Jerry Brown, the second baseman, to change his defensive positioning? Maybe play a little more up the middle?
Guerin back in. Another foul ball. So this is a pretty good battle here. Guerin with a 2-2 count has sprayed around 5 foul balls. There's Flowers, the rookie third baseman, on deck.
Yeah, Guerin is making Bud Black waste a lot of quality pitches. He's keeping himself alive.
And another foul ball. That'll drop out of play. Well, this is a good confrontation right here as the Yankees try to cash in on the scoring opportunity, trying to avoid letting it get away. Black, of course, trying to pitch out of a jam that found Yankee runners at first and third with nobody out before Barfield and Kelly went out. It's Black and Guerin. Yankees lead. Winfield scores as Guerin wins that battle. Boy, he has to feel good about that.
That was a terrific at bat. It was outstanding pitching by Bud Black, and then he let one drift a little bit over the plate. Guerin fouled off I don't know how many good pitches, up and in, out of the strike zone, down and away, a couple of good change-ups.
And here's the RBI single.
That's about the first pitch that he has thrown, or one of the first, that was down the middle of the plate. It was up, but it was down the middle and not on either board of the plate.
Hall stopped at second as Guerin has singled home Winfield. So the Yankees have the first run of the ball game. And here's Mike Flowers. Flowers takes it the other way, base hit into right. Snyder up with the ball, good arm. Hall will score, no play. 2-0 Yankees. Hall scores from second. On the base hit into right. Flowers driving in the run. Guerin stopping at second. So the Yankees do take advantage of this scoring opportunity thanks to Guerin and Blowers.
A breaking ball that stayed on the, not on the inside half. I think he wanted to throw it down and in and force him to pull the ball. And you can see the thick grass did not allow Corey Starter with that great throwing arm to even have a play. So 2 big 2-out base hits for the Yankees.
So we go back to the top of the batting order. Steve Sax. Sax out pitcher first in the first. Black misses high, ball 1.
They were talking before the ball game. The second man in this game, they didn't think it'd be this early. It'd be Rod Nichols, right-handed. And that's what John McNamara and his pitching coach Mark Wiley have done. They are planning with the shortened spring training which pitcher coming in complements the starter the best. Yesterday it would have been Candiati, then Burse. 2 different styles. Today it would be Bud Black, and they were talking Rod Nichols, a right-hander.
And the Indians are starting to crank up the bullpen. 2-0 the count. Well, Black made some great pitches after getting into trouble, but you have to give Bob Guerin a lot of credit.
Too early for Rod Nichols. This is Al Nipper coming back from what looked like 2 injuries that would devastate his career, the knee and the shoulder. He's bounced way back when they thought his career was over with.
2-0 the count. Well, you have to wonder, early in the season with the shortened spring training, it's strange how one at bat such as Guerin had could affect the pitcher, especially when Blowers came back with the RBI single. And now Black has thrown the ball high here to Sax. He's not the same pitcher.
Well, they were talking about 80 pitches or thereabouts for Bud Black. That's what Mark Wiley coming out now wanted from him. The way he was throwing, we got Barfield and Kelly. But you're right, that at bat by Guerin must have been frustrating for him because he fouled off so many good pitches. Mark Wiley, the only coach that states, Louis Isaacs, the bullpen coach, has stayed along also, but there was such a vast improvement from the 88 to the 89 pitching statistics of the Cleveland Indians. Hank Peters, the CEO and president of the Indians, felt he'd done a marvelous job, and he did.
Bud Black, 3-11 lifetime against the Yankees. He is a game under 500 lifetime in the major leagues, but 8 under against New York. He made only 6 pitches in the first inning, has made better than 30 pitches here in the second, and has just walked Steve Sax on 4 pitches to load the bases for Espinoza. So Sax didn't get much to hit. And here's Alvaro Espinoza. Espinoza fouled out to the second baseman Jerry Brown his first time. The pitch up again, ball 1.
I'm sure Mark Wiley and John McNamara would like to see him leave this ballgame on a positive note, get at least 1 hitter before they remove him after he started off throwing so well.
Espinoza looks at a strike.
These pitchers during the regular season are going through the strengthening of the arm process. You wouldn't know it by Langston and Viola yesterday.
Ground ball for Brown. He'll take the force at second, and the Yankees are out in the second, but they pick up 2 as Dave Winfield scores the first of those 2 runs in the second at the end of 2. Yankees 2, Indians nothing. On to the 3rd inning from Yankee Stadium. 2-0, Yankees out in front. Sandy Alomar Jr. facing Dave LaPointe. LaPointe starts him with a strike. Alomar, Santana, and Webster against the Yankee left-hander. Alomar, just 23 years old. At AAA last year, hit .306 and drove in 101 runs.
And when you look at some other numbers for a big guy who has driven in those 100 runs, he doesn't strike out much. His tops, if you go back for one season, has been 58 strikeouts. Doesn't walk a whole lot, but he's apparently a young man who has learned to hit off-speed pitch, go the opposite way.
A ball, 2 strikes the count. Was the son of Sandy Alomar, brother of Roberto Alomar. The count goes to 2-2. And of those 2 brothers, Sandy developed his interest in baseball a little later than Roberto. Sandy liked to surf, and he liked dirt biking and all sorts of other activities. Finally came around to baseball. A base hit, that pitch up, and Alomar sent it right back through the middle.
Of course, his pop's 15 years in the major leagues as a player. Last 5 years with the Padres. Roberto and Sandy Jr. crossed paths quite a bit in the minor leagues. They played 10 different times together in professional baseball.
So Alomar singles to open the third. Here's the shortstop, Rafael Santana.
I'd like to be Alomar's agent.
Oh boy. It's akin to sitting back and flipping coupons.
Stay healthy, pal. You'll be something.
Ball 1. Rich Dower going through the signs at third.
Of course, Hank Peters was an executive with the Baltimore Orioles and loved the style of play of Rich Dower as a second baseman.
Strike on the corner, and the count's 1-1.
Earl Weaver didn't like to hit and run very much, but he would let Rich Dower do it almost at will, let him call it himself. With such bat control.
1-1 the count. Strike 2. 30-year-old Dave LaPointe. LaPointe, to 113 and 2/3 innings last year. Ground ball, Sachs. Second base 1, first base 2. Sachs, Espinosa to Mattingly. 4-6-3 on the double play.
Those 2 guys, Espinosa and Sachs, were ready to do that about a month and a half ago as they worked out daily during the lockout at Bucky Dent's baseball camp. Stays down on the ball, looks it right into the glove, shows it to his shortstop, low bridge him. That's what he does.
So that takes care of the base runner. 2 gone. Base is empty. Here's Mitch Webster, top of the order. Ball 1. Webster tried to bunt his way on in the first inning. Bob Guerin made a nice play to throw him out. Strike 1-1.
Mitch Webster, as a young man, played baseball for a former Yankee who became very famous around here. His name is Ralph Terry, who was his Little League coach back in Larned, Kansas.
And LaPointe pops him up for Mattingly. That takes care of the Indians in the third. No runs, a hit, nobody left. Bottom of the third coming. The Yankees 2 and the Indians nothing. Baseball is brought to you by GE. From plastics to financial services, we bring good things to life. With Tony Kubek, Dwayne Stats from Yankee Stadium this afternoon. Bottom of the third. Don Mattingly will open it with the Yankees out in front, 2-0. Mattingly takes a strike from Bud Black. Mattingly out third to first in the first inning. He fouls the off-speed pitch away. 2 strikes the count.
One of the toughest guys in baseball to strike out, Don Mattingly. He doesn't walk a whole lot. His hand-eye coordination is so good that whenever he swings, he usually puts the bat on the ball. Usually puts it in play.
A ball, 2 strikes.
I think it's very important early that some of the hitters in front of and behind Mattingly have decent starts. They don't have to have great starts, because if they don't, they're not going to throw him too many strikes. Would you?
No way. 2-2 now.
So we get back to Dave Winfield. So he'll be hitting fourth against those left-handers behind him.
Well, a healthy and productive Winfield would mean so much to the Yankee club, and Mattingly in particular. A popper short left. Santana out, can't get there. Base hit. Mattingly, sort of inside outing that pitch, drops it into short left.
He was fooled on a breaking ball that something was taken off, but he kept the bat enough and just tried to put it in play the opposite way. So many hitters who are fooled on a pitch like that now in front will try and pull the ball. It's the weak ground ball to the right side. His head discipline is so good. His head was on the ball, even though some of the weight was already gone with a lunge.
So Mattingly's aboard, and Dave Winfield steps in. Winfield started that second inning with a double. Scored the first run. He takes a strike, shortening on the bat.
I don't do this yet. My scorecard is not as sophisticated as yours, but didn't Black have him 0-2 also? One-time Winfield, he had him 0-2. He
right,
got the base hit left field corner. Yeah, that was a good at bat, just like Bob Guerin's was.
Winfield pops this one into short center. Santana out, Webster in. That ball might fall. A collision out there.
I think he got the ball. I think.
And Santana came up with the ball and held it. And they're going to get a double play.
Yeah.
Webster and Santana collide, and Santana managed to hang onto the baseball, and they get a double play. How about that?
Very interesting umpiring on this, because the second base umpire, John Hirschbeck, did not think there was going to be any chance. So Hirschbeck did not go out. He did not have a good view at all. He stayed for a play at second, and Davey Phillips from third base hustled out in the short center field. So the umpire's rotation was not very good on that. Wow, he got kneed right in the face, Miss Webster. Hirschbeck, for some reason, didn't go out. He thought the ball was going to fall. There might be a force-out play at second base, and Davey Phillips picked him up and ran out to short center field from third.
And here's Mel Hall taking ball 1. 6-3 on the double play. And as a base runner, you're helpless.
Yeah, nothing you can do. He was blocked off by Santana, who was tumbling over Webster.
Hall down that right field line, but it's foul. The count is 1 ball, 1 strike. Hall at .355 this spring.
Almost overshadows the great catch that Webster made. He broke back and then came in the spacious center field.
This one foul out of play.
I can't call it spacious anymore. It's only 408. It used to be when it was 461 to dead center field.
Reaching into the memory bank for that.
Oh, yeah.
All behind in the count. Bases empty, 2 gone. Black misses. That's a rich memory bank, too, by the way.
Oh, boy. Those monuments used to be right out there in the playing field. Bud Black would like to have an umpire who would give him a couple of inches of that outside and inside corner.
Ground ball for Brown. And that takes care of the Yankees. Brown to Hernandez. No runs, a hit. Nobody left. We're through 3. Al Trautwig will be along in a moment. Yankees out in front, 2-0.
Back to Yankee Stadium from our camera out in Monument Park. I'm Al Trautwig in with Tony Kubek, and after delving into Arctic ball last night, we are being treated to some nice New York weather today. On the Wiz American League scoreboard, second inning, Detroit leading Boston 2-1, and some later starts there. Jerry Brown, second baseman, flied out to center field. Roberto Kelly snared it to record the second out of the first inning. As we move to the top of the fourth, Yankees leading 2-0 on 5 hits.
I didn't know you were that powerful. I was just about to ask you
what the scores were.
Yeah, it's like
it's after only 4.5 games. The telepathy is there.
Like Yogi says, ESPN.
And a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yogi asked Whitey Ford asked Yogi what he's going to be doing now that he's out of uniform for Houston. He said, I'm going to be evaluating players.
It's tough to do.
Say that again.
Ground ball, Espinosa. As smooth as ever. Cross to Mattingly. You know, it's hard to believe that a year ago on opening day, Alvaro Espinosa was the starting shortstop, and everybody thought that was such a big surprise. Well, now he looks like the most calm of veterans out there.
He only needed a chance. And when patience wears very thin in the Bronx, people upstairs, they had nobody to go to. He gave him over 500 at-bats. Starts the double play, pivots on it. Great hands, as you said.
Candy Maldonado facing Dave LaPointe. He struck out his first time up. Candy, another one of the National Leaguers coming over to the Indians this year, signed as a free agent. And a ball, 1-0. Well, Tony, we already have 2 hot dogs to compare, Cleveland and Yankee Stadium. It's tough, but the mustard of Cleveland, I think, gives it a strong edge.
Good. You haven't been to Milwaukee yet.
Soon.
Okay. Keep a little notebook.
Dave LaPointe in his 4th inning of work. He's given up 2 hits. Maldonado fouls it off right side.
There's an example of what happens when a team knows a pitcher's got a great changeup, that palm ball. LaPointe doesn't throw that hard. In fact, in spring training, they were getting him in the low 80s, his top speed, and sometimes that was on some fast speed guns. But with the changeup in mind, Maldonado's way behind. It is really a mediocre fastball at times, but it's all relative.
Maldonado lines one past Espinosa. A single and a runner on with 1 down in the top of the 4th. You mentioned before batters coming to the plate, and the next man to do that for Cleveland will be Corey Snyder. Keep the weight back, keep the weight back, keep the weight back. As a game goes along, do the batters facing a changeup pitcher get more used to doing that, thereby decreasing the number of innings that a changeup pitcher can be effective?
Some hitters will adjust. Some hitters just aren't smart enough to make the adjustment. But a pitcher who is as smart as Dave LaPointe will work with his catcher to change the pitching pattern if they can. I mean, Juan Marichal might have been the best. He threw pretty hard, had great screwball, great thing. He pitched the middle 3 innings different than the first 3. Then he'd come back the last 3 completely different. Whether Dave LaPointe can do it or not after the surgery remains to be seen.
Corey Snyder coming off the worst year of his major league career. That after 2 consecutive seasons where he was a big offensive threat for the Cleveland Indians. The live ball year of '87, then '88. And now after an off-season tutoring session with hitting guru Walt Briniak, he is hitting the ball very, very well.
And a healthy back.
And he's one of those players who suffered from the postponement last night because of the snow. He rocked one out of Cleveland Stadium last night. And of course, all that doesn't count.
You got to remember his first year in the big leagues. He played short, third, center, left, right. They toyed with him at so many different positions, and I've got to believe that had a little effect on a younger ball player.
Fly ball, left field. Mel Hall going back, going back, going back. The game is tied. Corey Snyder has hit a home run against the Yankees for the 2nd consecutive day. Yesterday didn't count. Today it does.
You think his mentor, Walt Briniak, isn't going to have a little smile on his face when he hears about this? A fastball inside that looked like it was inside off the plate. Look, he's closer to the plate than he was the last couple of years, but very quick inside. He did not have any fear of being jammed by LaPointe's fastball, and Dave LaPointe thought he could.
Manager John McNamara, before the season started, said, I'm not sure where Corey Snyder's going to play, but he'll play somewhere, and that's a taste of why. Here's Keith Hernandez getting booed at Yankee Stadium.
That swing of Snyder's, if he keeps it all year, it's so much quicker.
0-2 to Hernandez.
That's always the secret of it. When they readjust to his new hitting style, will he readjust to the way they're going to pitch him? And it's constant. That's why a guy like Hernandez, year after year, just stayed about the same. He'd change on him, he'd change and adjust to it.
You can bet with Hernandez at bat, Don Mattingly's mind is a flutter at the thought of a ball that most likely will come his way. Not this time. Mel Hall in, Espinosa out. It is Mel Hall battling the Bronx Sunshine, and there are 2 away in the top of the 4th.
He's worked very hard on his defense. They talked about making an adjustment against left-handed pitching when Pat Corrales tried that with him, and he wasn't successful for almost the whole season. But he's worked very hard defensively.
Chris James.
Chris James, the batter. He was part of the Sandy Alomar Jr. deal, coming over again from the National League for Joe Carter, who hit or knocked in 1 out of every 6 runs that Cleveland scored a year ago.
We mentioned this yesterday. That was a weak spot, the DH spot in the lineup for the Cleveland Indians. And I guess people miss the old A to Z, 21 DHs, Aguayo to Zabella.
Imagine sharing that with me 2 days in a row.
Really, it's within less than 24 hours, I'm sure.
That's right.
That's how good I thought it was.
We've actually shared too much in the last 24 hours, haven't we? No balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Dave LaPointe trying to get out of the 4th, having given up a game-tying home run to Corey Snyder. 1-2. The plane landed at LaGuardia Airport last night. The thought of taking off in that snowstorm was not one of the more pleasant thoughts I've had of 1990. Most of the Yankee players, I'm sure, got home around 3 in the morning. But then in your era, Tony, guys came in at 3 o'clock in the morning all the time.
We ate a lot of late dinners.
Uh-huh.
Do you think these guys are saints?
I didn't say that. And that'll bring the top of the 4th to a close. But Dave LaPointe serves up 1 pitch, and it was a beauty that Corey Snyder enjoyed watching sail over the left field wall. We're tied. Opening day for the New York Yankees and Cleveland Indians, the last 2 teams to play their first game in the 1990 season. Jesse Barfield leads it off in the bottom of the 4th, tied at 2. Line shot center field, way back is Mitch Webster, and he hauls it in.
Right near the end of spring training, Jesse Barfield appeared to be getting a little more aggressive with the bat. He got jammed the first time up and he popped up to second base, but at least he's going after some pitches. And I thought instead of taking a lot, although he did take 2 knuckleballs yesterday early in the count from Candiati, he seems to be more aggressive. And I think Champ Summers and Bucky want him to be that way, not sit there and get behind in the count.
And of course there was that coaching session with the boss, George Steinbrenner. Roberto Kelly, ground ball, Jacoby across Hernandez. And an ever so quick experience through the first 2 outs for the Yankees here in the bottom of the 4th.
That is one of Mr. Steinbrenner's strong suit, coaching hitting.
Didn't say that either, Tony.
With Jesse's mechanics.
No.
What to look for in certain situations.
It was an element of Mr. Barfield's springtime experience. That's all I'm saying.
Nice fatherly talk.
Yes.
Right to the line.
This is Bob Guerin. Big hit his first time up. Knocked in the first Yankee run with an RBI single. And was later left stranded at second. The Yankees getting both runs on 4 hits in the second inning off Bud Black. Bud a disappointing 3-11 over the years against the Yankees.
2 outstanding bats in that inning were Winfield coming back from 0-2 count and Guerin battling and finally getting an RBI. 2 out base hit, and then along came Blowers. 2 out base hit.
Remember that at bat that Guerin had the first time up, that was of marathon variety. There were numerous foul ball souvenirs hit into the stands here at the stadium. And considering that this is a scheduled change game, there's a big crowd here at Yankee Stadium today. A lot of people not working. Now, knowing you the little that I do, Tony, I would tend to think that you shied away from all the opening day pomp and circumstance and basically were much more happy when it got to be day 2 of the season.
I think a lot of guys do. At home especially, there's a little more pressure because first impressions mean so much, especially in the Bronx, where there have been times when there have been catcalls and the old Bronx cheer noted in this area.
Here?
Oh, on occasion.
3 balls, 1 strike, 2 out. Yankees trying to slow down this speedy bottom half of the 4th inning. And Bob Guerin takes it now full at 3-2. I asked Bob if he was a tad nervous before the game. He said, nope, it's just another one. Fly ball center field. Mitch Webster takes about 5 strides back, now changes direction, and that softly circling wind does not prove to be too much for Mitch Webster to record the 3rd out. We move to the top of 5, and the Indians and Yankees are tied at 2. The commissioner of baseball, Fay Vincent, one of the many luminaries in attendance at the stadium in the Bronx today.
His predecessor, the late A. Bartlett Giamatti, a Red Sox fan, and Mr. Vincent, a Yankee fan. He can no longer be an unabashed Yankee fan.
True. Brooke Jacoby leads it off for the Indians. In the last inning, Dave LaPointe gave up his first home run to any player currently on this Indians roster. That was Corey Snyder that tied this game. And Jacoby launches one that Roberto Kelly is on the receiving end of. 1 down. Top of the 5th. 2-2. Al Troutwig, Tony Kubek. Dwayne Statz is an inning away from returning.
The catcher,
Jeff Robinson beginning to warm up in the Yankee bullpen.
Mark Connor behind him, the bullpen coach, twice the Yankee pitching coach. Kind of nice to have 2 men with the pitching credentials that Connors and Billy Connors have in the same uniform in the same field. That wind is drifting the ball towards center field. A couple of fly balls have just kept carrying in that area.
Sandy Alomar Jr. with 1 down, takes a ball 1-0, singled his first time up, and then was victimized on a Rafael Santana induced double play. And another of the many balloons.
What? I got my binoculars. It said George Must something. Couldn't read the last word.
I don't know.
Leave it up to you folks.
Your guess
George
is as good
Must,
as mine.
and it rolled over before I could get the binoculars on. George Must.
And there are
fill in the blanks.
There are a lot of those floating around here today.
George must get another left-handed power hitter.
I don't know if there's that much room on the balloon. We've spoken of the legacy of Sandy Alomar and what a precedent he has set for Sandy Alomar Jr. And the likeness is startling.
Not the size, though.
No. I don't dare check the trunk of your car for a helium tank.
Please don't.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Top of the 5th. Indians have 4 hits. One of them, of course, the big Corey Snyder home run. Couldn't wait to get a look at Sandy Alomar Jr. last night, and he didn't disappoint when he tossed out Steve Sachs attempting to steal before the big snow came. And it was a rifle down to second base that nailed Steve Sachs last night.
John McNamara said after watching him all spring, he said, I got to say this is a reservation, but I got to say it. He's the best I've seen at blocking pitches.
Espinosa to Mattingly, 2 down. Alomar Jr. is erased.
I think that's a big statement for a guy like McNamara, who's seen so many good catchers. And I think he was really saying at his age, 23, and his size, to be that mobile and be able to move around and catch a knuckleball as easy as he did. There's Jose Morales, the hitting instructor, whose pops is a little ill up in Mount Vernon, wants to say hi to him and wish him the best. Stanley Latimer.
That brings another ex-Met. Rafael Santana to the plate. Another product of the operating room of Dr. Frank Jobe. Rafael missed the entire season last year with elbow surgery. 1 ball, no strikes, 2 out. Top of the 5th inning. Fly ball center field. Roberto Kelly on the soft retreat. Slaps the glove and brings it down. The Indians are gone in the top of the 5th as we continue on opening day 1990. Inning tied at 2. Mike Lauer steps to the plate and an RBI single his first time at bat. And I know, Tony, when you talk about first impressions are lasting ones, he wanted to make his first impression as the starting opening day third baseman for the Yankees a good one, and he did.
No doubt about his throwing arm. They say he has good hands. He's proven that in the minor leagues with some fielding awards. He has power. How many holes will he have offensively? And how much range will he be able to cover?
1 ball, 1 strike. He had 3 home runs in the string, but I think it's safe to say that everyone who's following the Yankees would love to see him make a diving stab or two and erase the memory of those errors of the spring. High and tight. No swing. Down at first, Al Clark. 2-1.
Well, Joe Sparks knew him from the Montreal organization. Bucky Dent saw a little of him in the minor leagues.
What's your gut feeling? You think he can do the job?
If they can get 10 or 12 home runs from him this year, he fields his position. He's going to make some errors because his throwing arm could be erratic. And if he can drive in 60 runs, I think he'd be a plus at this point. I think Bucky Dent would like to see that and then build on that. Champ Summers has worked hard to get him to try and handle breaking stuff away, moved him off the plate and closed the stance a little bit. Again, it's one of those only time will tell deals. Likes the ball down. That most people know. Low fastballs are the pitches that he drives better than any other.
Full count to Mike Flowers, the Yankee third baseman. Up next, Steve Sax, and then Alvaro Espinoza in the bottom of the 5th. Bud Black on the 3-2. Flowers fouls it off.
And to try and take away a little bit of that blind stuff up and in, especially, they call flattening out his battle. But it used to be like almost straight up in the air, and it was just designed to uppercut a baseball. He didn't know how to get the loop out of his swing, so they made it a little flatter, leveled him off. Oh, I think he got a call right there. Bud Black thought so too.
Well, Flowers is on to start the bottom of the 5th, and Bud Black is indeed not happy at the call delivered by Larry McCoy. It was a real McCoy or not?
Bud Black now is not only questioning McCoy, he's asking Alomar, now where was it? And Alomar gave an affirmative nod and said, yeah, it was a strike, but you didn't get it.
Steve Sax, the batter, grounded out to the pitcher his first time up and later walked in the 2nd inning.
This is a spot where you like to have some speed. In the 9th slot, many teams, that 9th spot will try and get some speed. Joe Sparks flashing the sign. One of the reasons is if you get around to your first hitter, if you do want to hit and run, or if you do want to bunt with him, you got a chance. If you do bunt in this situation, Flowers may be an easy out at second base because he doesn't run very well. You like to complete that circle of speed with a 9, 1, and 2 hitter if you can. Charging at the corners will be a good time to put a switch on.
Hernandez charging in. The bunt right at the third base line. Jacoby's got to go to knock out Sax, and the bunt accomplishes the job. Mike Flowers moves to second.
See, this early in the ball game in the 5th. I'm not sure that's a good play again. They're playing for 1 run. I mean, you got Espinoza up now, who's not a run producer. He hit 280, but you know, ask him to drive and run. If he doesn't, you put the burden on Mattingly, who they may pitch around. It's just.
Well, either way, it didn't take long for us to see a Yankee take advantage of that grass that has been brought in toward the foul line there. Mike Flowers did exactly that. Steve Sax did exactly that.
You're talking about a guy in Sax who, with his speed, doesn't hit a whole lot of double plays. He doesn't strike out much. He's going to put the ball in play for you.
Alvaro Espinoza hit .222 in the spring. He's 0 for 2 today. Popped to second, grounded to second. And right now, Mike Flowers is at second. With 1 out, the count 0-1. Bottom of the 5th.
What makes it difficult on Espinoza, because he doesn't drive the ball that hard. Your outfielders come in, especially on the right side where he hits it, like Corey Snyder and Mitch Webster are like playing like a little deeper than Little League depth. And so to score a base hit to those areas is almost impossible. For Flowers especially, who's not a good runner. It's a strategy that you got to question.
We got a taste of how the Yankees may have to create the Bronx Bombers as a misnomer this year, and that they're going to get a lot of runs at stringing hits together as opposed to the home run.
If they keep playing like this, they're going to have to string a lot of hits together. And it is very early, and you can always adjust your offensive philosophy. Here's a guy that hit 300 last year. You're saying sacrifice the 5th inning against a guy in the 5th inning, Bud Black, who they've had on the ropes once, and he's probably at the point where he's tiring.
Detroit Tigers getting revenge for the 10th inning victory by the Sox yesterday. 6-1, 3rd inning. Early start for Sparky's gang. 0-2 to Espinoza. Bud Black. Espinoza sends it down the line. Foul ball.
Not quite the zip on that cut fastball inside like he had the first couple of innings, where he was hitting right-hand hitters on the fist. It's pushing himself just a little bit. Espinosa, who added about 10 pounds to a weight-lifting program in the offseason, a little bit stronger on that ball inside.
Bud Black's 0-2 pitch. Ground ball to short. Santana across to Hernandez, and Blowers moves over to third. And that brings Don Mattingly to the plate. Mattingly singled his second time up after grounding out his first trip.
It's been interesting at bat, I think, with the left-hander Bud Black, who's tired a little bit with Winfield behind him, who's swinging the bat pretty well. A double, although he did loop into a double play. See if they throw him any strikes.
Mattingly will now be a Yankee for 6 more years and make more money than an undeveloped nation in the third world. $19.3 million after this season is done. 0-1, 2 away.
This is a little respect for showing Mattingly. He was left-hander with Winfield behind him. And in 1988, the year that Winfield had 100 RBIs and 20 home runs, they were starting to pitch around Mattingly even that year and make Winfield drive the runs home.
1-1. Mattingly right at Hernandez, and he can't get to it. Flowers scores. Yankees lead it 3-2. RBI for Don Mattingly. Second hit of the day.
Well, I asked Dwayne this earlier when he was up. We talked about it in spring training. Would you throw this guy a strike? The man in scoring position. He gets the breaking ball up. He is obviously the edge is off, and a great hitter that Mattingly is, takes advantage of it, drives it through the right side. A little slider just stayed right upstairs.
Looked as though Hernandez was just leaning the wrong way at the moment of contact and couldn't recover quick enough. That brings Dave Winfield to the plate. Dave got things started early. He removed a lot of the questions quickly with a double his first time at bat, ripping one down the line. The same spot he nailed 2 last night in the snow-out game. Strike 1. Dave was also the instigator of a rather strange double play in the 3rd inning when Jerry Brown went back and made a spectacular over-the-shoulder grab, collided with Mitch Webster, and then the double play when Mattingly was caught off too. Winfield cracked the bat, I think, over to Jacoby and across to Hernandez, and that'll end the bottom of the 5th inning. But Don Mattingly singles in Mike Flowers, and the Yankees have the lead again as we head to the 6th. Tony Kubek will call that inning, and sitting next to him will be Dwayne Statz. I'll step aside, but see you again in the post-game report as we continue live from the stadium on opening day.
Along with Dwayne Statz and his yellow power tie and opening day in Yankee Stadium, I'm Tony Kubek. Al Trautwig did a nice 2 innings and a marvelous job. I thought the Steve Hurt piece was outstanding in the pregame show.
Oh, of course.
First pitch into center field off the bat of Mitch Webster. So with the Yankees leading 3-2, Webster hits a single off a changeup from Dave LaPointe.
I would think from this point on, Billy Connors and Bucky Dent will have a very close eye on Dave LaPointe. He's up in the mid-70s now in the pitch department, and the Yankee bullpen is busy. Jeff Robinson, a right-hander, and Craig Catteray, a left-hander.
LaPointe has struck out 4, those all through the first 4 innings. He'd like to have that one pitch back to Corey Steiner, a fastball. He probably would have liked a little bit more inside. A 2-run home run for Corey after Maldonado had singled. The Yankees came up with 2 runs after 2 outs on 4 base hits. Guerin and Blowers driving the 2 runs in. Winfield started that inning off. Out in front of the plate, and LaPointe will not have a play at second base. He'll go over to Mattingly at first. So the sacrifice advances Mitch Webster to second base. Jerry Brown, no time at bat. We'll bring up Maldonado.
Well, the Indians sacrificing that tying run into scoring position for the middle part of the order.
Lee Guterman, the left-hander, and Jeff Robinson, the right-hander. Well, I guess both teams playing for a run in the middle of the ball game. The Yankees in the 5th, now the 6th, the sacrifice. It looks like LaPointe looking at his finger as if he has a blister. And Espinosa looks on at it, and Guerin. As Bucky Dent made the call of the bullpen. perhaps when you're going to see 3, maybe 4 pitchers in a ball game, Jeff Robinson's going to come on. He warmed up in the snow yesterday in Cleveland. So Dave LaPointe did a nice job. Leaves with a man on, 1 out in the 6th. And you figure, I guess, with Doug Jones down there, that may be Bucky Dent's thinking. Doug Jones, who closes games so well, he wants to score when he can. So with LaPointe leaving, Robinson coming on. We'll be back right after this. Folks, we want to remind you this copyrighted telecast is authorized under rights granted by the New York Yankees solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Yankees and Madison Square Garden Network is prohibited. Dave LaPointe did a nice job. Gene Monahan, the head trainer, sitting next to him, probably looking at what appeared to be a little blister. But he had enough of that fastball to keep the right-handed hitters honest. A very, very promising outing for Dave LaPointe, Dwayne, as Jeff Robinson now comes on with that split-fingered fastball, sinker, and slider.
And this is the perfect position for Robinson insofar as the Yankees are concerned. They're hoping that he can come in middle relief and do the job for them. He's done a little bit of everything in his career. Starting, he's closed at times, but they feel that he is most effective in the middle.
And do the job to see who the closer is going to be. Will it be Cadaret? Alan Mills is there. Righetti. Trade rumors again popping up in various newspapers about Rags. Nice stop, Garrett. He kept it in front of him and prevented Mitch Webster going to third base, which really would have changed the inning. He's there with less than 2 outs. The infield's forced to come in. Nice block, Guerin.
Yeah, and that's the one thing with that split-fingered pitch that you have to be concerned about. Wild pitches. And Robinson has uncorked a few of those with San Francisco and Pittsburgh.
1 ball, no strikes, 1 out here in the 6th. 3-2 Yankees with Webster at second base. Breaking ball, 2-0. Guerin now turns on Larry McCoy, the home plate umpire, asking where that pitch was, as did Bud Black last half inning. Maldonado has struck out, singled, and scored a run. Chop foul. 2 balls and a strike.
And he likes the ball up. He likes to be able to extend the arms.
I always get the impression when he was doing so well with the Giants a couple of years back that he would look away and even hit breaking balls to right center field. And then they started busting him inside. 2-1. He jammed him. Short center field, Roberto Kelly. 2 outs. Webster retreats. It'll bring up Corey Snyder. First base is open, but Hernandez, the left-handed hitter, follows Corey Snyder. Snyder is singled and hit a 2-run home run. Crushed the ball twice yesterday in the snow in Municipal Stadium, Cleveland. That's why Guerin is out there talking to Robinson. Now Mattingly's going to come out along with Sachs. Probably just to alert him. Remember, he's coming over from the National League. And they have scouting reports, but I think both veterans coming in will remind him that first base is open.
And the way he's swinging the bat, you've got to be very careful in this crucial spot.
That's one of the reasons why Hernandez suggested coming out of spring training he hit 5th to give some protection to Corey Snyder. Right over the top of a forkball. 1 strike with 2 down. Yankees 3, Indians 2 here on opening day in the Bronx. Jeff Robinson trying to save that run for Dave LaPointe. Two strikes to Corey Snyder, which gives Jeff Robinson room to work.
And he's kept that ball down.
Boy, what a setup man Robinson had been for Jimmy Leland and the Pirates, setting up Jim Gott. So Gott went down, and then Robinson was forced into the closer's job. Webster at second. Forkball dug out of the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Snyder in the past had some problems with off-speed stuff, breaking stuff, but with this new approach, he might be a completely different hitter.
The runner at second with 2 strikes and 2 outs on the hitter will get a good jump. As soon as the swing starts, you can be on the move. Flowers bobbles it. The long throw to first base. A great throwing arm. Gets Corey Snyder by 1 giant stride. So Flowers gets a chance, knocks it down, and throws him out. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. The Yankees still leading it 3-2. We'll be back. Is out-of-town scoreboard. 3 night games. Kansas City, California, Toronto. Later starts. Detroit 6, Boston 1. That ball game in the 3rd. A new team that Sparky Anderson's got after a very frustrating 100-plus loss season. The National League, where the scoreboard looks like this. 5-1 Philadelphia over the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley in the 5th inning. So apparently they've got some clear weather settling in there. New pitcher for John McNamara as Bud Black leaves in the 6th, trailing 3-2. Al Nipper.
We'll see a lot of off-speed stuff from Nipper. He had the surgery on his right knee and then had the strained right elbow and had some work done on that as well. This is a comeback for him with Cleveland.
Screwball, forkball, knuckleball. It might have been a screwball right there. Mel Hall, who has single scored a run that in the 2nd, also grounded out in the 3rd. With Al Nipper, it's difficult to tell. He throws so many off-speed pitches with such a wide variety. Slow curves, takes something off the slider. Talked about the knuckleball, forkball, and the screwball. Occasionally he'll get that fastball inside you, sometimes way inside to keep you off the plate. I believe that's another knuckleball. So Mel Hall gets a little piece of that to stay alive. 2 strikes on Hall. Nipper released by the Cubs and then filed a grievance. Hurt his knee. The Cubs said that he had hurt it before he came to spring training. He contended he didn't, and they settled out of court ultimately. He's been a starter, long or middle reliever. Fouled out of play. A great crowd at Yankee Stadium. Not a full house, but I'd guess 45,000 plus. The bunting is out for opening day on a very nice, clear day in the spring of the year. A lot of labor pains to get this baby started this year, huh? Lockout and rainouts and snowouts. Fly ball, Mitch Webster. 1 down.
You know, a hitter can be very comfortable against Nipper because he doesn't throw hard, but he changes speeds and directions so often and gets you just out in front a little bit. He can be frustrating for a hitter at times. He gets into trouble when he falls behind hitters and that breaking stuff flattens out on him a little bit.
You know, he might be the kind of guy with Jesse Barfield stepping in, may feel more comfortable pitching from behind in the count because he does nibble so. And the hitter's egos get away with him, and they see the off-speed pitch, and they try and juice it out of the ballpark. There's a slider, strike to Barfield. But another reason you can't get too comfortable with him is because he does come inside. Alomar had a taste of the Candiati knuckleball yesterday, and he had a pretty good one. A ball and a strike. He never caught one before this spring training. He said to Luis Isaacs, the bullpen catcher, I want to catch Candiati as much as I can in the bullpen to learn to see what that thing does. 1-2 to Barfield with 1 down. That's what makes it authentic in a big league ballpark and not spring training. You see the hot dog wrappers. You just don't see that in Florida or Arizona, do you?
Come to think of it, I don't think I have.
You know Troutman's in the area. See a lot of hot dog wrappers. When he's got his inning or 2 off, man, he's going to write a book about the hot dogs and bratwurst and Viennas and Milwaukee. And you know, one thing he's going to forget, though, I'm afraid, is he's only talking about the content of the hot dog and the taste. What about the buns?
Oh, that's a big part of that experience.
Tell me. He'll learn. Get him around the league a couple times. Ball and 2 strikes with 1 out. 3-2 Yankees. Barfield against Nipper. Fouled off, out of play again.
That gives Troutwig more material for another show. He'll do the dogs once and then come back with the buns the next time around.
Important outings for people like Nipper trying to salvage his career and make a comeback. With a 27-man roster, many teams going with 12, some 13 pitchers on their staff. Fouled off Jesse's foot, so the outings he will have up until April 30th, when they're apparently going to go back to 24-man roster, are going to be important. If he's battling some kids, whether it's Wickander or Burse in the bullpen or somebody else, or Nichols, if he pitches well, it may mean whether they keep him or not. High slider. Jesse lays off. The appeal goes down to the first base umpire, Al Clark. He waves the safe sign. The count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Here it is. See what you think.
Many umpires have different standards. He hits that baby, it's a line drive, isn't it?
That's
Except
right.
a strong guy like that who pulls the bat back so fast, many times will get that call, or sometimes. He swings through a fastball. So Barfield goes down swinging off Al Nipper. Jesse now 0 for 3.
That's what Nipper will do to you. You'll see so much of the off-speed stuff, and then he'll sneak one of the fastballs in there and throw it by you. That's exactly what he did there.
Came a little different look with the delivery. He stepped over a little bit toward third base, and maybe Barfield gave a little for the delivery. 2 outs for Roberto Kelly. Breaking ball, strike.
And I would think he would have a great chance to stick around if he's healthy, because he is so serviceable. He can start.
1-1. Fake of a bunt attempt by Roberto Kelly. Gets Brooke Jacobian in third base, and sometimes they charge in 6 steps, go back 3, and maybe a ground ball sneaks by. 2-1. Yankees jumped off to a 2-0 lead in the second. Big 2-out at bat by Bob Guerin, a key in that inning. Corey Snyder's 2-run homer in the 4th tied it, and the Yankees scuffled for a run in the 5th. Flowers walk, sack sacrifice. Espinosa grounds out. Mattingly drove him in. 2-2 with 2 down. Base hit left field for Roberto Kelly. So with 2 outs, he's on for Bob Guerin.
Kelly get the hands in, singles into left. And this next guy, he could be the key man to this game right now, with the at bat he had earlier in this game.
Bob Guerin, who had some tenderness in the elbow in spring training, a slight hamstring pull. Some of the little injuries early in the year with the short spring training, players are being asked to play through. Kelly with a nice lead trying to draw a throw. One thing that Bucky Dent put in this year was what he calls measured leads. Joe Morgan did that a lot. Instead of varying your lead according to how far you think you can get off and against each pitcher, they set a spot out, and sometimes they mark it about 15 feet. Right-hander sometimes longer than left-hander. It's measured so you know with one stride and a dive back against any kind of pitching, you can get back in. That way, Bucky Dent feels you've got a little more comfortable lead. You get a better jump, or you might be able to go first to third or score. Will he test Roberto or Sandy Alomar's arm? Sachs tried it last night. 1 ball.
Nipper shortened up his stride a little bit on that last delivery.
A little slide step, huh? Get rid of it quicker. He is going. No, he's not. Breaking ball, strike, 1-1. He varied the rhythm of his delivery. Didn't hold the ball quite as long that time. Roberto Cali was leaning, and then he almost looked like he quit pitch. 2 years ago, they'd call a balk on that. 1-1, 2 outs. Yankees with a 1-run lead. Cali is showing steel all the way. A comfortable lead for Roberto Cali. False start. There comes a snap throw. They don't get him. But that false start by Cali, as Nipper once again unloaded in a hurry, drew Jerry Brown, the second baseman, out of position. He was over covering second base.
There's the false start by Kelly. Nipper is doing all sorts of things, from varying his delivery to shortening the stride at one point to holding the ball and then stepping off and throwing.
Pitchers who throw a variety of off-speed pitches have to do that. Quick pitch. Kelly didn't have any kind of jump. Boy, he just unloaded in a hurry. Ball and 2 strikes. Guerin fouls it out of play. You're right. He's shown him a lot of different deliveries. And moves over to first. Stepped off and thrown over. Many good base stealers, and I know Wills did it, Brock did it, Morgan. They would sit on the bench and time the deliveries, get a rhythm of the pitchers. But he's changing his rhythm with almost every release. Now he's holding the ball.
And Kelly over there flinching a little bit at first. He's raring to go. Sure,
trying to take the spring out of the legs. If the guy stays poised there long enough, you get a little flat-footed. 1-2, 2 outs. We're in the 6th. 3-2 Yankees. He's going. Base hit in the left field corner. This will score Roberto. Guerin with another big 2-out base hit behind the count. 1-2. No chance for a play at home plate. 4-2 Yankees. What a job Guerin has done in 2 of 3 at-bats today.
And you know, you have to also give Kelly some credit there, because he divided Nipper's attention so much. Nipper paid so much attention to him. He varied his delivery. He looked over there. He threw over there.
They are looking at Roberto Cali as though when he came around third, he stumbled to see if he hurt his leg. It's an off-speed pitch with Kelly going end of the bat, but in a great spot in the left field corner for the Yankees. Maldonado was playing Guerin toward left center field. The Yankees now take a 4-2 lead. Is Roberto hurt? Are they looking at his back? He stumbled coming around third.
There's Gene Monahan with him.
Nice block, Alomar. 1-1 to Mike Flowers. Flowers on twice in this ballgame. Single RBI and a walk and a run score. So Bucky Dent starts a runner with Guerin in the hole, and he put the ball in play nicely. Slices foul. 1-2.
Here's Kelly coming around third, scoring on that hit by Guerin. And right there, you saw that stumble, and then he stumbled again, rounding the bag.
Joe Sparks giving him the helicopter sign all the way, so perhaps a tender ankle as he came into the bag, and when he hit the bag off stride, he gets Flowers with a fastball up and in. He swings right through it. One of his blind spots that he's going to have to lay off or learn to protect. But the Yankees come up with a run after 2 outs once again after 6. 4-2 Yankees. We'll be back.
In Friday night and Saturday afternoon, when all fans receive a full-color Yankee calendar, compliments of Ivory soap, and then Sunday afternoon at 1:30, Citibank presents Yankee Ring Day for all youngsters 14 and under. Tickets available on sale at the stadium and through Ticketmaster. For more information, call 212-293-6000.
I haven't seen the pitching matchups yet, but what day will the Yankees get Nolan Ryan?
Saturday.
Saturday.
We'll have him Saturday.
5 innings of no-hit ball.
MSG. That's right.
Is that incredible?
On to the 7th inning with the Yankees leading 4-2. Keith Hernandez against Jeff Robinson. Foul ball, strike one. 5 innings for Bud Black. 3 runs, 6 hits, strikeout, 2 walks. 79 pitches for Black, 75 pitches for the Yankees starter Dave LaPointe. 2 strikes to count to Hernandez. For LaPointe, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 2 runs, 4 strikeouts. Robinson came on with a man in scoring position, got Maldonado and Snyder to end the 6th, and now starts the 7th and has the jump on Hernandez. 0-2.
He tried to shoot that last pitch, a forkball, the opposite way.
Fly ball deep to right. Barfield back on the track, but has room and makes the catch.
When Dave Winfield is back and ready to play left field, he did some of that in spring training. This is a chance to be an outstanding defensive outfield. Barfield, Roberto Kelly, and Winfield, a bunch of Golden Gloves for Barfield and Winfield already, and Roberto Kelly someday will win one also.
There's Winfield, the DH today. He doubled and scored in the 2nd inning.
Guess who's giving him hitting advice? Pascual Perez, sitting right next to him.
Here's Chris James, the DH for Cleveland.
George
taking
Bradley,
ball 1.
and the vice president, saw Pascual pitch down to the Tampa area the other day. Said he threw the ball very well and might be ready to go 6 or 7.
Base is empty. We're in the 7th, 1 out. And a strike call. James came up through the Philadelphia Phillies organization, split last year between the Phillies and the San Diego Padres. Padres for a time thought they might be able to play him at third base. 2 balls and a strike. And then he winds up in Cleveland along with Sandy Alomar Jr. Joe Carter going the other way.
6 of the 9 players starting for John McNamara today weren't even with the ball club last year.
A strike on the corner. 2-2.
Like 2 teams with a different look. Johnny Mack.
This one foul, out of play, so the count holds at 2-2. Some fellas here from the 1986 season that John McNamara has a memory or 2 of.
How about Fenway Park opening day? A 1.5 or 2 minute standing ovation for Bill Buckner, who took a lot of heat for one play, which really didn't cost him the World Series. There was a lot more that happened after that.
Full count now to Chris James. Brooke Jacoby is on deck. Robinson in relief of Dave LaPointe. A beautiful day at Yankee Stadium. James takes one out of play.
We're a little bit concerned when we came in early and went into the Cleveland clubhouse, and one of the coaches came in and went out early, looked at Yankee Stadium, and a little cloud went over, and he said he saw some snow flurries. That's about 2.5 hours before the ball game.
That's right.
But since then, it's become just a gorgeous day.
Full count. Left side, Espinosa scoops, throws, and James is out at first.
That's the one Bucky Dent doesn't like, when he does it with one hand on the play in the hole. But when he does make errors, he'll make them on that play where he could get 2 hands down on the ball and smother it. And Bucky says every once in a while I've got to remind him, don't get nonchalant on that ball to your right. You got an in-between hop. Tougher to the 3 hops. The long hop or the short hop's much easier.
Here's Brooke Jacoby. 0 for 2 today, has been called out on strikes and went out with a fly ball to center. Goes to right field, deep this time. Barfield veering back. It's over his head. A good carom off the fence. Throw to second. They're going to get him. He's out at second base. Barfield picking up an assist. He got a great carom and made a great throw to get Jacoby. And that will take care of the Indians in the 7th. coming. With the Yankees out in front, it's a 4-2 ball game. An outfield assist last year with 20. His third 20-plus assist season, and here's #1 of the 1990 season.
He did everything right. You mentioned Karen played perfectly at his home park. He threw the ball to fly so it wouldn't slow down and hit the grass, and he got a little help from not the brightest base runner, although it looked like a sure double, but Barfield's out there. You're down by 2 runs with a couple of outs. Jacoby not the fastest of runners. You've got the tying runs going to step into the bat of Alomar. So a great play by Jesse, but I think that Jacoby would like to take that try back.
Cecilio Guante becomes the 3rd Cleveland pitcher of this game, following Bud Black, who pitched 5, and Al Nipper, who worked 1 inning. And the Yankees will have the top of the order, Steve Sachs, to start it against Guante. Ball 1.
Matt has always had a little bit of a rubber arm. Throws pretty hard, forkball, slider. He can be very tough on right-handed hitters. With his delivery, where he almost turns his back to you, he has a tendency to bail out.
He misses high. 2-0 the count. Yankees with 2 runs in the 2nd inning. Cleveland scored 2 in the 4th. The Yankees back with single markers in the 5th and 6th. Strike call.
With that delivery, that's where he likes to keep the ball for right-handed hitters. You can see even Sachs, a 300-plus hitter last year, back on his heels.
The count 2-1. Guante spent last year with the Texas Rangers. Sachs pops it up, foul ball, but it's out of play, and the count goes to 2-2. See Hernandez in that Cleveland uniform chasing over after that one. 2-2 the count.
You ever seen a more aggressive first baseman than Keith Hernandez, with a man on first base where he jumps off? Nadling does the same thing.
A 2-2 count. And another one fouled back. Guante out of the Dominican Republic. Detroit with a big lead over Boston, 10-1. Kenny Williams of the Tigers was removed from that game after being struck in the head by a pitch ball.
You see where Mike Greenwell got hit in the head yesterday too, and luckily he had the protective helmet, the ear flap. He wasn't hurt seriously.
Another foul out of play. Houston and Cincinnati mixing it up in the National League a little bit the last day or two. So this is the regular season. This is for real. Sachs strokes it toward right center. Webster back and caught the ball behind him. Webster is not an accomplished outfielder.
Well, he can do so many things sensationally with his speed. He got a knuckleball. That's what he just showed to Corey Snyder. He said the ball knuckled on me. But he can be a little bit of an adventure on the base paths at times also.
Here's Espinosa. 1 out, bases empty. The Yankees shortstop looking for his first hit. Shortens on the bat, takes the pitch for a strike. Guante with Pittsburgh for a long time. Spent some time with the Yankees, then the Rangers. 0-2 the count.
Cleveland can get some middle relief and set up people to get to Doug Jones with that starting staff. They've got a chance to be contenders in this league because it looks like their offense is going to be better. And then again, the big if, one of them is Corey Snyder swinging the bat consistently most of the year.
Yeah, still 2 strikes with that foul ball. And Snyder's got to be the heart and soul of their offense.
Well, a lot of question marks. What does Keith Hernandez have left? When Maldonado hit in this league, he struggled over in the other league for the last year and a half or so, 2 years. Look out!
Oh, look out! Espinosa goes down.
No balls,
by
2
the
strikes.
pitch, and he's not very happy.
You might remember last year, Tony Fernandez in Texas hit a grand slam home run. The next time up, Tony Fernandez with an 0-2 count was hit right in the face by this same man, Cecilio Guante. This is 0-2 right here. Gets him on the back of the wrist, I believe. Al Clark out in a hurry, as was Larry McCoy. It's a purpose pitch that just kept following him. I couldn't tell if it got him on the elbow or the wrist. It looked like it hit him near the elbow, and Espinosa glares. He knows the reputation of Guante.
Here it is. We'll get a little better look.
A pitch similar to this put Tony Fernandez, who's a left-handed hitter, out for almost a month last season. A little over 3 weeks.
So Espinosa remains in the game.
Look at Espinosa glaring at Guante. He makes Guante go off the mound. Guante won't look at him.
One on, one out for Don Mattingly. Mattingly 2 out of 3 with a run batted in. And a strike. Espinosa had bluffed a little start. He got a little more than a walking lead, a secondary lead that time.
That's not a very smart pitch. And I'm not saying intentionally threw him. He's trying to brush him off, and Espinosa's trying to guard against the slider or the forkball. But when you do it to the little guys, is when it really gets irritating. That's when the guys like Winfield and the Mattingleys come to your aid.
They get a chance to hit with men on base. 0-2. Started that one wide and broke it over.
I don't think Don liked the call. Don appeared this spring to be hitting a little bit more out of a crouch and trying to lay off some of those high pitches high in the strike zone. I think he felt that ball was out of the strike zone up.
A ball, 2 strikes. Started on the fly ball to center by Steve Sachs. Espinosa hit by a pitch.
He's choked up on the bat just about an inch with 2 strikes on it.
The count goes to 2-2.
I think you notice about batting, he was just tremendous balance on the plate. You know that the ball, he recognizes a pitch so much more quickly than a lot of people. Forget that he's gotten stronger, learned to pull the ball, and has great hand-eye coordination. That all adds to it. But you throw him pitch outside, he recognizes it, he's almost stepping on the plate to go with it.
The 2-2. And he lifts it into center. Webster under it. 2 gone. So Mattingly retired. He's 2 for 4. 2 outs in the 7th for Dave Winfield.
Mattingly mad at the home plate umpire put him in a hole. He wouldn't have minded or argued if it was the first pitch called a strike, but he got him in 0-2 and made him a defensive hitter, and he will flip his bat and almost get not only the umpire but Alomar the catcher. Watch this. He's saying look out, I think.
Dave Winfield picked up the first Yankee hit of the year, a double, and the first Yankee run back in the 2nd inning. A strike call. We're in the 7th inning. Guante is the 3rd Cleveland pitcher. The Indian bullpen busy, and there's some movement going on in the Yankee bullpen. Winfield, a big cut.
It'll be interesting to see if this does become a save situation for a Yankee pitcher. Who will be in there to save it? I would guess it's going to be Righetti. In a strong 1 inning his last outing, although he struggled a good part of the spring with all the turmoil surrounding him.
2 strikes. Yankees took a 3-2 lead in the 5th. Got another run in the 6th. Winfield called out on strikes, and he's unhappy with McCoy. Winfield caught looking for the Yankees in the 7th. No runs, a hit batsman and a man left. Through 7 from Yankee Stadium. Yankees 4, Cleveland 2. Yankees Baseball is brought to you in part by your Tri-State Toyota dealer, to invite you to stop by and see their all-new lineup. Yankee bullpen is busy. The left-hander Cataray, the right-hander Plunk, as this game swings into the 8th inning. Jeff Robinson on the mound in relief of Dave LaPointe. Sandy Alomar, the hitter, and the pitch is a ball. Alomar, 1 out of 2. Rafael Santana due to hit next, but Dion James, a left-handed hitter, is on deck. 2-0 the count. Following the first 2 hitters, then Mitch Webster, the Cleveland center fielder, due.
First batter efficiency when you're pitching in a tight ball game, and he falls behind 3-0.
The Yankee lead is 2.
In this park late in the ball game, if you keep the ball away, you can throw strikes, just throw your fastball and let him hit it to the big part of the park, center field.
And he loses Alomar on 4 pitches. First walk given up by Yankee pitching. And now Dion James comes off the bench to pinch hit.
Who sprays the ball around. He came to Cleveland last year from Atlanta. He hit over 300. Not a whole lot of power. Atlanta, when he was a regular, he had some strange numbers. Walked 110 times, struck out 112, and he hit 312. So he's the kind of guy who can start rallies or keep them going for you.
Guerin out talking with Robinson.
This may be buying some time for some of the pitchers, and Billy Connors calling down right now to Mark Connors or somebody else going to come out. They bought enough time to get maybe 8-10 more pitches for the 2 men on this cool day. It's getting a little cooler as the sun is settling now.
So Bucky Dent goes to the mound. Jeff Robinson has walked the first man in the 8th. James, a left-handed hitter, has been announced.
Well, Bucky has already looked, along with Joe Sparks and Mike Ferraro, who is available on the bench. If he would go to left-hander Cataray, you've got Skinner there, not known for his hitting. Tom Brookins, Joey Bell, a powerful young man, and Felix Fermin, and the switch hitter Carlos Baerga, a rookie. So he's buying more time by making the home plate umpire, Larry McCoy. I think he'll get Cataray, and then they will put a pinch hitter up, I would guess, for Dion James. But that'll be the move that McNamara will have to decide.
So
it gets to be a matchup game. Who do you want, which pitcher to face which hitter? And that's where the chess game is starting out for Bucky and for McNamara.
And the Yankees make their move. Jeff Robinson departs in favor of the left-hander Cataray. So Craig Cataray becomes the 3rd pitcher for the Yankees, and we'll be right back. And the Indians making their moves. Craig Cataray is the new pitcher for the Yankees. Cataray follows LaPointe and Robinson, and Joey Bell will get the call from the Indian bench now. He'll hit for the announced pinch hitter Dion James.
Saw Joey Bell at the end of the last season when he was called up. Extremely strong to right center field, left center field, but Bucky Dent wants that left-handed matchup to make that right-hander hit to the big part of the ballpark if he can. Left center field, right center field, instead of letting Dion James against a right-hander, even though he's not a pull hitter, you change up and he might get one of the right field seats. So Bucky playing the matchups wisely.
And Bell, you can be sure, will come off the bench swinging. He does, and fouls it out of play. Strike 1.
The best laid plans with mice and men. Now, he started out the spring that he's going to be a starter, Cataray. When Righetti struggled, they put him back in the pen. They're talking about a closer for him. Now, looks like he'll be a setup man and sometimes a closer.
Bell takes this one down, a ball and a strike. Good power. The Yankees well aware of that. He connected, hit a grand slam off Eric Plunk last year.
Canaray with a crisp fastball runs away a slider, and he throws that forkball or split-fingered fastball. Dave Duncan showed it to him.
High popper, right side foul, and Mattingly runs out of room. A ball, 2 strikes. That might also be part of the thinking. Bell loves the fastball so much that Canaray can give him any number of looks with different pitches. The runner at first, Alomar. John McNamara, the Cleveland manager. Canaray misses close. That squares the count at 2-2. He got in on Bell and pops him up. Guerin, now Blowers with a better angle, makes the catch. Blowers coming down from third. Or for a moment it appeared that Guerin might take charge, but Blowers with a better angle.
You wonder, as Blowers will again guard that third baseline, the important run is the one at home plate. You want to keep him out of scoring position, so they're moving him right on the line again.
Mitch Webster.
You know, Webster not basically a pull hitter. Canaray throws the forkball or a slider down and in. It's a pitch he might pull down the line, so you give ground to your left and protect that line against a double. You know, you wonder how Oakland is going to, how much it's going to hurt them not having Canaray and Plunk there the entire year, who are such good setup men for Dennis Eckersley the last couple of years.
Webster lofts a fly ball, not too deep to center for Roberto Kelly. 2 gone. So Canaray gets Bell on a pop and Webster on a fly ball. Jerry Brown, the second baseman, who led the Indians in hitting last year with a .299 average. Brown becomes the hitter now. He's 0 for 2 with a sacrifice bunt.
Point pitching the way he did, this Yankee team has a chance to have a lot of tough left-handed pitchers, which can be so essential in this ballpark. The way he carried through the other day before he got the line drive off his fingers against the Mets. Chuck, I didn't see you throw that Arnold Springs. Boy, it's getting into the Yankee Stadium with those nice, friendly power alleys.
Ground ball up the middle. Brown has a base hit. Alomar stops at second. So the Indians have 2 men on, and we get down into the middle part of the order.
Pitch down in the strike zone. Does that debunk the theory that switch hitters usually are low ball hitters from the left side and high ball hitters from the right side? Maldonado and Bucky again. Is he going to go with matchups? A right-handed hitter Maldonado. Deion James already out of the ballgame. The only left-handed bat left is Carlos Baerga, a rookie.
And Bucky's going to make the move. So Canaray will depart. Eric Plunk will get the call for the Yankees. They didn't find 2 men on with 2 men out.
Not as much in the American League as the National League, where you have to really work your bullpen maybe a little more judiciously than in the American League, but Bucky's working well today now for the right matchups.
We'll be right back following this. Right-hander Eric Plunk follows LaPointe, Robinson, and Canaray.
He throws very hard. Throws very hard, sometimes getting the ball up there in the mid-90s with a good curveball. When he's got his curveball for strikes, he can be an exceptional relief pitcher. Sometimes, and seems more off the stretch than out of the windup, curveball is not quite as controllable. And the luxury of a 27-man roster and 12 pitchers, we've seen a bunch already, and we've got a couple more in the bullpen.
Righetti, the left-hander, Dave Righetti, and the young right-hander Mills. Alan Mills throwing.
And if you wonder what that little black book is that Mark Connors has, I would guess he's got the lineup there talking to Righetti and Mills, the hitters that they may be facing. They cannot see over the top at times who's batting and who's available. So he's trying to prime them mentally for when they come in, which hitter they might face.
Runners at first and second. 2 outs. We're in the top of the 8th, and the Yankees have a 2-run lead. It's a 4-2 ball game. Candy Maldonado, 1 for 3. Plunk misses, ball 1. Maldonado, a couple years ago with the Giants, forced his way into their lineup because of his productive pinch hitting. Had problems last year. Drives this one. Short left center. Kelly in a hole, and Kelly gets a glove on it, but can't hold it. One man scores. Brown around third on his way to the plate. He will score now. Another man trying to go to second, and he's going to be out there. Maldonado out trying to move into scoring position at second, but he drops it into left center, and the Indians score 2 to tie, and will go into the bottom of the 8th, tied at 4. This game tied on a base hit by Candy Maldonado just off the glove of Roberto Kelly.
And that was Deion Sanders next to him. You wonder if Mal Hall was not scheduled to lead off the 8th, if he had been done with his at-bat, if Deion Sanders with that brilliant speed and a great outfielder would not have been in left field. With that speed, he might have outrun that ball and caught it and maintained the 2-run lead. They do get it out at second base, but not before the game was tied up. Sanders, I think, is getting ready to go in now. Hall not been scheduled to lead off the 8th. He might have already been in there.
And as we go to the bottom of the 8th, Felix Fermin takes over at shortstop for Cleveland. And the Indians bring on their 4th pitcher, left-hander Jesse Orosco.
I think this team's going to be all right with Orosco setting up Doug Jones and occasionally closing, and Guante or some of the other young pitchers. You got to wonder about the Indians bench over the long haul. Orosco found his niches right. He had a really outstanding year, unnoticed last year. ERA around 2, and striking out about 1 per inning pitched.
The Yankees in the 8th will have Mel Hall, Jesse Barfield, and Roberto Kelly do. Orosco replaces Guante, who worked 1 inning, picked up a strikeout, hit a man. So this game tied. The Yankees have 4 runs, 8 hits, and the Indians have 4 runs, 8 hits.
That base hit by Maldonado to drive in 2 in the 8th to tie it up was one of those where it looked like Mal Hall may have gotten frozen. A hard swing, end of the bat, looped in front of him, and just that momentary freeze, he couldn't catch up to it.
Here's Hall. And a looper foul. Strike 1.
2 toughest outfields in this league. Day baseball in left field in Yankee Stadium and right field in Fenway Park.
Ball singled and scored in the 2nd inning. Black for 5, 3 runs off him, a run in 1 inning off Nipper. 1 scoreless inning for Guante. Hall shortening, and the breaking ball's over for strike. He's in the hole, 0-2. 2 runs charged to Dave LaPointe in 5 1/3. Jeff Robinson charged with 1 run in an inning and 2/3. Canteray charged with the other run.
Start the inning off with a walk to the 8th place hitter Alomar, who doesn't walk a lot, and that's where the trouble began. Look out.
Look out. That pitch behind him, and down he goes.
That was a breaking ball. It wasn't a fastball, but again, what has happened so often with the umpires warning pitchers and players charging mounds, many times they'll throw hard breaking balls to move you back, which they can say it slipped out of my hands. I'm not accusing Orosco of that, but the fastball is much more obvious than a hard breaking ball.
And Hall is called out on strikes. He's at odds with Larry McCoy.
It's interesting. Early on in the ball game, LaPointe and Bud Black thought the Larry McCoy strike zone may have been too small, and Mattingly and now Hall think he's widened it a little bit.
Here's Jesse Barfield. Barfield 0 for 3, and a strike call. Mentioning the leadoff walk to Alomar. Reminds me of that. You obviously hear a lot of numbers in this game, but the walk with nobody out, that something like 70% of those runners turn into runs. And that's exactly what happened in the 8th.
Unless it's Nolan Ryan or Sandy Koufax or Roger Clemens. It depends a little on the pitcher also.
2 strikes. And the Yankees didn't have any of those guys pitching today.
Jesse's trying to figure out what that last pitch is. From our monitors, it didn't look like it was a slider. It almost looked like a fastball that did something very silly.
0-2 the count. Enough to stay alive.
Got a chance to see young Sandy Alomar behind the plate. 2 strikes, put the location and the pitch down, and alerted Orozco what the count was. And he almost made a mistake, got the breaking ball up too high.
One out, bases empty. A ball, 2 strikes. The count to Jesse Barfield. Indians with a 2-run 8th. Barfield with another foul ball, back and out of play.
Jesse had trouble with that most of the spring, trying to catch up to fastballs, even those that are right down the middle. Seemed like the body was out front and the bat was lagging back, and some have said even within the organization that he doesn't have the bat speed to hit a good fastball anymore. Some think, like Chap Summer, it's just little things with his mechanics that slows his bat down when he jumps at the ball and the bat drags.
A little piece of that one, a foul ball.
Inner defense for Cleveland, like the Yankees. This is a tie ball game now, are right on the lines, Hernandez and Jacoby.
Well, Hall called out on strikes, and Barfield behind in the count. He gets time from Larry McCoy.
Look at Jacoby. 1 stride from the line. Hernandez the same way on the other side, even though Jesse will rarely hit a ball down that line. And the outfielders move way back. They do not want a ball hit over their head with 1 out for a double or triple. So left fielders back near the warning track. Center fielder and right fielder very deep.
And Orozco misses down. Champ Summers alongside Bucky Dent. Summers, the Yankee hitting instructor.
Try to get Jesse to stay back and do a little upper body turn to get in a cocked position. You can be ready to fire.
And we go to 3-2. So Orozco, after getting out in front, has missed with a couple pitches down. And again, Barfield stays alive.
Champ Summers talks a lot, and maybe it's his Vietnam War background in military terms when he talks hitting. You got to load and fire. You got to load and fire, he keeps telling these guys. And then use your hands and be quick. Sometimes he's got Jesse right where he wants him, and another time it just is very fleeting with Barfield. It's been that way for a few years.
And Jesse draws the walk. Barfield walks against Orozco. 1 on, 1 out. Roberto Kelly will be the hit. Kelly singled and scored in the 6th. He has struck out and grounded out as well.
Looking at his left ankle when he stumbled or hit the bag wrong at third base. Apparently they taped it to give him a little support. He may have a slight sprain in the left ankle.
Go. Indians want the appeal. Al Clark says he did not offer. A ball, no strikes. The Yankees with a man on in a tie game. Bottom of the 8th. strike. So the count is 1-1. Bucky Dent relaying the signs to Joe Sparks. Step off move. Barfield back in.
Well, if you're a pitcher, you've got to have confidence when you throw over. And if you get a clutch at first base, you don't throw over as often or as hard. But with Hernandez or Mattingly there, you can just throw it. You know they're going to grab it. Don't have to aim it.
Ball breaking down and in, out of the strike zone. 2-1.
Always felt, if you look at Joe Sparks again, which is a decent running count, 2-1, but it might be tough to do off Orozco with that. He doesn't have a great move to first, but that late kick looks like he's always going over to first, and he freezes. Hard to get a jump.
And a tap. Barfield starts it to second one. First base not in time. So they get the force on Barfield. And that's it. Kelly reaches on a fielder's choice.
You can't get Kelly and turn that into double play. When can you? I mean, you couldn't do it any differently. Big one hopper. Orozco gets rid of it. Gets a good throw to Fermin. He unloads in a hurry, and Kelly still beats it. So any effects with a taped ankle are not shown there.
So Kelly's at first, 2 gone. And Bob Guerin, who already has driven in 2 of the 4 Yankee runs on the day, with a 2nd inning single and a 6th inning double, is the hitter. Guerin goes after the first one.
We've had a very, very interesting opening day game, haven't we? In MSG, I'm discounting spring training yesterday, of course. Guerin with some clutch hitting.
A great battle.
Good plays in center field. Great throw by Barfield. Nice job by LaPointe. But exciting.
And we're tied in the 8th with Kelly at first. A ball and a strike. And it all started with Billy Joe Martin throwing out the first pitch. A crowd of better than 50,000 at Yankee Stadium.
Here comes Mark Wiley. They've had Doug Jones, their closer, heated up in the bullpen. Are they going to go over a scouting report on Guerin? Jones was throwing in the bullpen. He is now ready to come in if they need him. There's Doug. That is Louis Isaacs. We talked about him a while ago. He played with Sandy Alomar Sr. in Santurce, Puerto Rico. He's the man with the shin guards on. And about 14 years ago, he said this young kid used to come out to the ballpark. He said, I'd put the catching gear on him and say, try and block these. He said, the kid had such good hands. He said, I'd throw it in the dirt and I'd get mad. He said, the kid would be in tears. He wouldn't quit. And there's the man who turned out to be. He said, maybe I made Sandy Jr. a catcher. He said, I don't know, but Louis Isaacs worked with this kid when he's 7, 8 years old.
Yeah, he said earlier this spring that Alomar was the best catching prospect he'd seen since Johnny Bench. 1-1 the count. Wiley back in the Cleveland dugout. There goes the runner. And another hit for Guerin. Kelly was sliding in at second. He gets up and advances to third. Guerin comes up with his 3rd hit. First and 3rd for the Yankees.
It was one of those go on the first move. If he picks you off, keep going. Maybe you can beat the first baseman's throw. He went on the first move. It was interesting because it was a breaking ball. The second baseman, Jerry Brown, is standing on the base covering, and yet Felix Fermin started going to second base too, and he went, the ball was hit hard, but it went through the vacated shortstop hole. Fermin, for some reason, was going to his left also. Roberto goes on first move of Jesse Orozco with a high leg kick. Now Brown is there for the throw, and for some reason, Fermin vacated the shortstop's hole and let it vacant. He took just a little step or two to his left.
And John McNamara comes out of the Indians dugout to make a pitching change. Roscoe departs with men at first and third and 2 outs. So Jones, the new pitcher, and we'll be back following this. Taking a look at the Wiz out-of-town scoreboard. Detroit leading Boston 10-5 in the bottom of the 5th. All the other action in the American League on the slate there tonight. In the National League, Pittsburgh leading the Mets 2-1. They're in the 2nd. Cubs batting in the bottom of the 9th, trailing the Phillies 5-4. LA and San Diego, and Atlanta will entertain San Francisco. The new pitcher is Doug Jones. So the Indians have called upon their 5th pitcher of the afternoon. And the Yankees counter with a pinch hitter. Luis Polonia will bat for Blowers.
More often than not on the road, and these are unique situations with the expanded pitching staff, short spring training, and literally the opening day for these two teams. You'd want Jones to come in. They're going to say he missed second base. The appeal is on, but he's safe, says the second base umpire John Hirschbeck. They felt that with Roberto Kelly on the move on the Guerin base hit, he may have stepped over second base. Usually you'd save a guy like Jones when you've got a lead on the road late in the ball game, but they feel he needs to work also.
Strange thing about that is Kelly was sliding it at second. He was all over that bag.
Now they're going to Hernandez, Alomar calls time, and Hernandez wanted to play behind the runner at first base Guerin to protect the hole.
And Polonia loops it into center, a base hit, and the Yankees lead. Polonia on the first pitch comes off the bench and delivers a base hit to center, chasing home Roberto Kelly. 5-4 Yankees. The run charged to Orozco.
And again, a walk thrown in. Remember the walk lead off the inning in the 8th and led to 2 runs, or helped lead to 2 runs for the Yankees. Now after 1 out, Barfield is lost by Orozco, walked him, and that comes back to haunt him a little bit. I mean, you couldn't throw a changeup in a more perfect spot. Low and away out of the strike zone, and Polonia, kind of a lost man in spring training, gets a big base hit.
And here's Steve Sachs taking the pitch down. So the Yankees have a 5-4 lead.
That's the hit and run play where, I'll tell you what, he did not touch the base.
That's right, he
did not. He did a pop-up slide, and from that angle, he went right over the top. So there was enough dust there flying over the bag to make John Hirschbeck, the second base umpire, look like he nicked the bag. But from that, I didn't think he touched it.
Didn't look as if he touched it at all right there.
Popped right up over the top of it. And the Yankees get a call.
Bouncer foul. Sachs trying to take it to right. The count is 1-2. Well, he was all over the bag. He just wasn't on it.
Yeah.
Polonia delivering the base hit.
Well, so Guerin has got 2 big 2-out base hits, and now Luis Polonia does.
The pitch close. 2-2.
This guy may have the best changeup in the league. I mean, that's not discounting Dave LaPointe, who's got an excellent one, and several other people. He also can sneak a fastball by you unexpectedly.
This one lined into the stands. Holding the count at 2-2. The Yankees would like to pick up, of course, another run or so, because as we peek into the 9th, Corey Snyder is due to lead off. The Yankees will be down in the middle part of that Cleveland batting order. Ground ball right side. Brown up, and the throw wide. It gets away, and another run will score. The throw wide. Garrett crosses the plate. Polonia will go to third. Oh, and out of play, and down to second goes Sachs.
That's one of those you almost hope it would have rattled around by the camera and not gone in, because the runner would have scored. Polonia with his speed, but Rule on the throw from the infield of that dugout, he gets 2 bases. Polonia goes to third. A great stop to save a run. A hurried throw with a very fast run. He didn't have a good grip on it, it's obvious. If Hernandez or Mattingly can't save it, nobody can. Look at the dive by by Sachs across the bag. A nice try by Brown.
Here's Espinosa, foul ball, strike one. That's a base hit and an error. No run batted in. So the Yankees again have a 2-run lead. Sachs at second base, Polonia at third. Fermin back on the ball. Low throw, and Hernandez comes up with it. So the 8th is over. But a good inning for the Yankees as they pick up 2 on 3 hits and error help. We're through 8 with the score 6-4 Yankees. Luis Polonia delivered the pinch hit single to put the Yankees out in front. They now lead 6-4. Polonia getting a little congratulatory nod from Pascual Perez.
It wasn't congratulations, that was hitting instructions.
Now playing third base, number 18.
Randy Velarde now playing third base.
Velarde.
Look at
Eric
Steve
Plunk
Sachs.
on the mound.
Steve Sachs goes out and gives a big pep talk to Eric Plunk. And this team needs to play with a little passion because in some areas they are short. Sometimes that will get you a long way in a 162-game schedule. If you are emotionally involved like this guy is diving into first base and now giving a pep talk.
And Corey Snyder steps in, taking the first pitch from Plunk. Outside, ball 1. Snyder with a single and a home run, 2 out of 3. A ball and a strike.
He can be so dominant, Eric Plunk, when he throws strikes.
Plunk gave up the looping single to Maldonado and tied the game. Maldonado out trying to go to second to end the inning. Velarde just in the game, takes care of that one.
Nice range shown to his left by Randy Velarde.
So Velarde to Mattingly. Snyder's gone.
Breaking ball. Out over the plate. Velarde read the ball off the bat very well and cuts right in front of Espinosa. We've got some people out on the field, which we prefer not to show you.
And they're being quickly removed.
Take a bow, Luis. Look right into that camera, didn't he, for that base hit? Polonia.
Base is empty with 1 out. And here's Keith Hernandez. Ball 1. Hernandez hit the ball to the track in right field in the 7th inning. Barfield tracked it down. 6-4 ball game in the 9th. Yankees leading. A base hit into right. Barfield up with it. Hernandez will stop at first. Down by 2. Hernandez knows better than to challenge Barfield.
And there was some off-season discussion when Dave Winfield came back who would be the right fielder, and Jesse Barfield in his quiet fashion, but some of his ego showing, say, I'm better at this point, I'm younger, I've got my string of gold gloves, and I ought to be there. Tom Brookins, the pinch runner now for Keith Hernandez.
So Brookins will run with 1 out. And Chris James, the designated hitter. So there's Brookins at first, talking with Mike Hargrove, the first base coach of the Indians. Chris James 0 for 3. And a wild pitch. Down to second goes Brookins.
That happens with men on base to his breaking ball on occasion. Tried to overthrow it from the stretch.
And of course that takes care of the force play possibility.
Looked like it was going to be a slider. It might also have been a forkball. I don't know. He just overthrew it, tried to stay on top of it, and comes up about 8 feet short of the catcher.
A ball, no strikes. This is Plunk's game to win. And he throws a strike.
Get in a situation where the runner at second doesn't mean a whole lot at this stage, so they want that's Brookins down to the pinch runner, so they want to guard those lines a little bit at the corners and play deeply in the outfield to take away the extra base hit. And that's why Buck Showalter's upstairs on the walkie-talkie to Mike Ferraro, position the defense.
Foul into the deck above us.
You know, Whitey Herzog has made the statement. Of course, he's always got such a great defense and on the turf with that speed in the big ballpark. He said, if I had to put a number how much positioning is over the course of the year, he said it might be up to 10 games. They're just getting to a ball by putting them in the right place and coordinating the pitching with the defense. It's hard to quantify something like that. Those are Whitey's words.
A number for sacks. James is out. Brookins goes to third. He's there with 2 outs in the ninth.
And a good example of an off-speed pitch, a breaking ball that was not overthrown. Hit him way into the bat. He had great motion. Completely fooled Chris James.
Brooke Jacoby will be the hitter. Jacoby 1 out of 3. He was tough against the Yankees last year. And Plunk starts him with a breaking ball, missing ball 1.
Off this guy, you can look for nothing but his hard stuff. So when he does get the curveball over, even though it's not a good one at times, hitters are just completely befuddled.
There's a strike. 1-1 now. Plunk trying to end this one.
Billy Connors with a chance to have a good pitching staff. Not a great one, but the arms here, if they find their proper roles, could be very good.
Fly ball, center field. Kelly back. There it is. It's all over. And the Yankees win their opener. A fly ball to center by Brooke Jacoby, handled by Roberto Kelly. And the Yankees win this one 6-4. In the ninth for the Indians, no runs, 1 hit. And they leave a man. 6-4 the final. Eric Plunk will be the winning pitcher. Before a crowd of better than 50,000 here at Yankee Stadium this afternoon, the Yankees get off on the proper side of the ledger. So the Yankees win it 6-4, and we'll be back following this. Back at Yankee Stadium this afternoon, where the Yankees have opened with a victory over the Cleveland Indians in what turns out to be just this single game matchup. Here is the Jeep Eagle game summary. Well, the Yankees 6-11-0 with 8 left. For the Indians 4-9-1. The Indians strand 3 men. Plunk the winner. Orozco, the losing pitcher, took 2:59 to play it. Corey Snyder hit a home run for the Indians, and Luis Polonia's pinch hit single in the 8th inning turned out to be the difference in this one, all before 50,114 at Yankee Stadium.
Things that stand out, LaPointe good. 2 out base hits by Guerin twice. Polonia, don't agree with bunting sacks in the 5th inning, but I thought that Bucky Dent got the matchups he wanted. You don't outmanage an old curmudgeon like John McNamara, but Bucky had the pitchers ready to make McNamara make some changes and force him into using players and get the proper matchup. So he managed one heck of a ball game.
So the Yankees won it. We have another thought or two, and we'll be back in a moment. finally get the 1990 season underway, and the third attempt turns out to be a charm as they once again defeat the Cleveland Indians 6-4. Stay with us for the postgame report coming up next with Al Trautwig. Our next game is Saturday when the Yankees meet the Texas Rangers. It all starts with the Yankee scorecard at 12:30. Now for Tony Kubek, this is Dwayne Staats saying so long from the ballpark. New York Yankees baseball has been brought to you by Miller High Life, by the man of Miller. The best comes shining through. And by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers, Advantage Jeep and Eagle.
This is the Yankee postgame report on opening day, and better than 50,000 are out on the streets of the Bronx as the Yankees come back in the 8th and score 2 to beat the Cleveland Indians by a score of 6-4. Eric Plunk, the winning pitcher, Jesse Orosco, the loser, and there's no doubt who the hitting star for the New York Yankees was today, and that is Bob Geren, who started for the New York Yankees behind the plate. Bob, this has got to be a satisfying feeling coming at home, but to finally get the first game under your belt, you're the starting catcher, and then to have a day like you had.
Well, I don't know which one to answer first. It was quite a time in Cleveland. Everybody was itching to get the season started, and the weather wouldn't cooperate, and then to come home and open up at home is nice in front of a big crowd. And just an outstanding victory for the ball club. We got a little lead, they tied it up. Got another lead, they tied it up, and we came in with the pinch hitter, got the hit. Outstanding game all the way around. We saw good pitching, good starting pitching, and good relief role too.
Well, let's take a look at the big hit for you. Of course, you did have the single and an RBI back in the second inning, but we're going to take you to the 6th inning, where Bob Geren had one of the longer at-bats of the game, and you'll see what happened here as he launches the double that scores scores Roberto Kelly. This gave the Yankees a 4-2 lead, and it looked like you got all of it. Must have felt good.
Well, I was just trying to make contact there. I had 2 strikes on me. And I got to pitch up a little bit where I can get the good part of the bat on it. Fortunately, nobody caught it. It was a big hit.
Now, Bob, your career is one that's been documented quite often, but 10 years of basically waiting for the big chance. There must have been a moment like you and I talked about where your career was at a down point.
Well, there's a few times. One time I remember was in AA, where I'd made an all-star team there and went to AAA the last month of the season. Didn't do too well for a couple days and found myself on the bench. And then the next year, after being an all-star in the Texas League, I found myself back in the Texas League as a backup catcher, and it got pretty gloomy there. But fortunately, I got a break. Somebody got hurt. I ended up playing the rest of the season. And when the season was over, I became a free agent, and the opportunity didn't feel real good with St. Louis, and the Yankees called, and I said I'm ready for a try somewhere else, and things have worked out real well.
Of course, Rick Cerone started last night. Bucky told me last night that you were scheduled to start today, so that was no surprise. What's the understanding that you have as to how you and Rick are going to be used?
I really don't know. It's I read different things, but I don't believe everything I read. Nobody really told me I was a starting catcher. Nobody told me I was a backup catcher. I'm just going to come to the ballpark every day ready to play.
So it's okay.
Well, I'm the kind of guy, like you said, played 10 years in the minor leagues. I'm real happy to be in the major leagues. I'm not going to, stir any commotion either way.
Right.
If I get a chance to play, I'm going to do my best. If not, I'll root the rest of the team on.
Called a good game today. Tell us about Dave LaPointe. He was certainly surprising that he even got to pitch opening day when you consider what his condition was a year ago. What did you think of him? Well,
I caught him a few games in spring and did real well. He had a real good changeup. I'm real happy for him coming off surgery last season, and he mixed them up real well. He faded that changeup away when he needed to, and he spotted the fastball, and they have a lot of aggressive hitters, and the changeup works real well on aggressive hitters, and Dave's the kind of guy that will throw changeups all day and mix in the fastball and the breaking ball when he needs to.
We like to bring out the additional talents of Yankees that we have in the studio, and understand your Dangerfield is pretty good. Do you think you'll finally get some respect?
I get no respect at all inside. I share a locker with a mop. When I was a kid, I worked at a pet store. People kept asking how big I'd get. One time I bought some rat poisoning. The girl said, "Should I wrap it up or are you going to eat it here?" Well, it starts at home, too. My family's not too smart. My old man worked at a bank. They caught him stealing pens. Tough neighborhood, too. Real tough neighborhood. I asked the guy how long of a walk to the subway. He said, "I don't know. So far, no one's ever made it."
All right, you keep going. Well, that's pretty good. We have the highlights and the